Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Robocop. Rogue City is part of the main part of. I can't speak today. It is delayed until November. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Super Mario Brothers Wonder includes in-game purchases, and we'll see what that is. And then we'll talk about Immortals of Aveum with the peak and current players that are playing on Steam right now, even though people were pushing this game when it came out. So we're going to have 3 articles today to talk about in conversation. It could be short, could be long. If you like the content that we do on this channel, please make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button, or if you want to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. So we are in the middle of a storm. We're on the outer bands of the hurricane in Florida. So every once in a while, we get these like the back end of the hurricane squalls coming through. So we might lose power, or other things might happen. So if I get up and leave, abruptly, is because something's going on. So just giving you guys heads up. What's going on, Soups? What's going on, boss? Brainchild. Brain, you okay over there? I know you're a little north, right? Are you north or south of Tampa? Dave Rose says, what? Microtransactions in Mario game? No, they've joined the dark side. 21 to Rose. I haven't read any of these things. I haven't read any of these articles. You guys posted them, and I posted some, but I just read the titles and then I put them on conversation pieces. Come on, Jesse Mac. This morning I had fun. Because we had a big like squall like pass by us this morning around like 7 o'clock. Our dog was inside. Our dog's an outside dog, right? We brought him in for safety last night. And then this morning he had to go pee. So I let him go. And what happens is, because of the storm, it's bringing in all of these smells from everywhere, from around the world, from the Gulf of Mexico, from whatever. So he started going to the bathroom and then took a nice big deep breath in, and then he lost his mind, right? We call it the zoomies. If you guys have animals, you know what I'm talking about. So he decided that he didn't want to come back in the house. He decided that he wanted to play out in the hurricane. So he decided to run off down the street to neighbors' houses and sniff a bunch of stuff. And I'm running out in the middle of a storm, trying to chase my dog down this morning. That's what I woke up to. I went from a dead sleep to take the dog out to running down the middle of high force winds, gusts around like 50 miles an hour or whatever. That was my morning. So good. Got a nice jog in. What's happening? Nothing's happening, Sarge. Everything's fine over here. It was just Thor decided that he didn't want to be in our yard anymore, and he decided he wanted to go down to the neighbors' houses. South of Tampa. There you go. Got a moat around my house. Well, that's to protect you from the invaders, Brain. That's to help you to protect from the invaders. We got nothing right now. Like we got gusts of winds. It's consistently raining, but nothing big in our area. So we're good as of right now. So it made landfall, I think, around 8 o'clock this morning up in the Panhandle area. So stay safe if you're out there. If you're in the path of the storm, stay safe. I was gonna buy Wonder, but this might make me pass depending on what the in-game purchases are. We'll read about it. The first thing we're gonna talk about is Immortals of Aveum. Now, this is not saying the game's bad in any way, shape, or form. Okay, this is not saying the game is bad in any way, shape, or form. But when they first showed this game, I was like, there's something off about it. It just doesn't look good. Now, this is a creator that used to work on Call of Duty and decided to make his own game, which he made the Magic game, where you're shooting stuff out of your wrists and stuff. And it's a pretty cool concept, right? How, though, does it play? Now, let me know in chat. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're watching this after the fact, if you played this game and if you loved the game, or if it was just, okay, or if something was missing from it. So, as you can tell from the title, again, this is only a small little chunk of Steam, but Immortals of Aveum peaked at 751 Steam players despite a huge streamer push, right? There was a lot of people pushing this game that, oh, it's so good. So you'll see how, that works out, right? There's a sense of, you know what I'm talking about, when you see a movie and people are talking about that movie and people that don't even know about the movie all of a sudden start hearing about that movie or that TV show, right? There was a push for this game and yet nobody heard of it, right? I made a joke about it a couple weeks ago on Lono's podcast. I was like, what's that game called? Immortal, and it was a joke because it came and went, basically, right? So let's read this. This is from Paul Tassi. He says, while this year is some of the best video game releases in a decade, there are a few bombs, and one of them appears to be Immortals of Aveum, a game that has so far peaked at 751 Steam players after launch and is declining from there. If you've been on Twitter or Twitch in the past week, you've likely seen a whole bunch of streamers playing Immortals of Aveum, but playing as part of the sponsored/ad campaigns. You can just search Immortals of Aveum #ad on Twitter and see dozens and dozens of streamers who have been a part of the campaign, even some huge ones, but at least on PC. It has amounted to really nothing at all. It amasses a massive miss from publisher EA and developer Ascendant Studios, which was mostly formed of the ex-Telltale employees after the studio went bankrupt. Now, Immortals had a flashy debut at the Game Awards last year, but again, this is not going well. Immortals of Aveum is a full $60 game released on PC, $70 on console, and a big barrier when sandwiched between likes of Baldur's Gate 3, Armored Core 6, and upcoming Starfield reviews are not great. At 66 Metascore on PC, 70 on PlayStation 5, it does get up to the 82 on Xbox Series X, but user scores are low, and Steam itself is mixed reviews, and I've seen worse, quote, Redfall, but the numbers sort of speak for themselves. He says, to him, it shows the limits of the streamer's base of ad campaign. This has been an absolute flood of sponsors and streams, which no doubt cost EA a pretty penny. Now, you can just keep scrolling and scrolling on Twitter and see endless lists of sponsorships, but now that most of them have ended on Twitch, Immortal of Aveum currently has 374 views. Effectively, none of those streamers graduated from paid sponsorships to actually playing the game on their own volition. Now, I do wonder what happens to Ascendant Studios from here, as this is not a good debut, and the debut of EA sponsorships would continue after this. It's a bummer, but this is what's a very, very tough year to launch on any original lower key game in, and give that the season of a non-stop hits, and your game was better than the average and stand out in the market of instances, especially if you're charging full price AAA games. So, like you could tell the temperature of a room or the temperature of something. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at the game, when it first came out, I said to myself, there's something off about this game. It doesn't look good. It had nothing to do that it was EA. It just seemed like, and I'll say it, it seemed like, and people liked Outriders, okay? I played Outriders. I enjoyed Outriders. But it seemed like the caliber of like an Outriders type of game, right? And again, this is not saying the game is crap in any way, shape, or form. It's just very hard to make a new IP, try something new, and it could have been a success. It still could be a success down the road. Like, years from now, people might look at this and go, oh, you know what game was really good? Immortals of Aveum. It was really good, right? But it was a small hit, and then all of a sudden people start buying and start picking it up and playing, going, oh man, this game should have had more push. But it just happened to be in a year, like in the article it says, where Starfield's coming out, Armored Core 6 is coming out, all of these games, Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out, Street Fighter 6 came out. Lots of people go, oh, well, I want to buy this game, but normal people only buy 3 games a year. Okay? So the average person has $60, now $70, and they go, what am I going to spend this on? Am I going to spend it on Armored Core 6? Am I going to spend it on Mortal Kombat 1? Am I going to spend it on, they're like, I don't know if I want to get Immortals of Aveum because I'll just wait for it to go on sale, right? And that's just the way it is. What's going on, Mo Cookie? Come on, Soups. Dave Rose says, I want to know how Florida doesn't lose power in a hurricane. It facts a raindrop in my neighborhood, we lose power. Well, when you live in a place, Baker, thank you very much for the 5 months membership. Appreciate that. When you live in a place that you're constantly getting hit by rainstorms and stuff, we have very good infrastructure, I should say. Some places they put the power lines underground. Other places they have the steel poles that don't break or bend. We take a lot of, I don't know if I want to say pride, but they take a lot of precautions for the trees and stuff to stay away from the power lines. And then soon as the storm comes, they're on it, man. They're on it. But we weren't like this always. It's because of it's because of storms like Andrew back in '92. Because of other I forget the other major storm. We get hit by them quite a bit, so they're really good at what they do now. Right? Lots of practice. Right? Lots of practice. Brain says, is Immortals of Aveum the game where we saw the character reloading his wrist when fighting? Yes. Yes, that's the one. Dave Rose says, so 751 shills caused the game looks like shit. I mean, let's go look at some numbers real fast, right? Let's go look at Twitch right now. I haven't been on Twitch in forever. Oh. Oh. Immortals of Aveum right now has 162 views. 162 views. The top person's got 44 views. Oh, I'm sorry, 62 views. 62 views. It's not looking good as far as the Twitch world, right? Let's go to what it is on Steam right now. Steam charts. Yeah, the peak all-time current peak is 751, and players right now is 161 on Steam. Not doing very good. It's a shame, you know. And to compare to movies, which I always do because I worked in the movie industry, okay, it's the same. It's entertainment field, right? Not every movie that comes out is going to be a blockbuster hit. There's some good movies out there. So, for instance, right now, if I go to Box Office Mojo and we look at, right, there's movies out there that are good movies that just don't do very well. So right now, Gran Turismo was #1 at the box office this weekend, but it only made domestically $17 million this past weekend, which is horrendous. Okay? Right? Worldwide, it's only made $55 million. This movie, okay, probably it probably won't make a profit. It needs to make about $300 million worldwide. It was a $100 million movie. I think it was a $102 million movie, right? It probably won't make its money back, right? I mean, that's more than Barbie did in 8 weeks. What are you talking about, Travis? You're talking trash again. Stop it. Barbie literally made in its opening day, right, $70 million. That's more than what Gran Turismo made worldwide in 5 days. It's still 20 million less than the first day of Barbie. So stop it. Stop with your trash talking. You make yourself sound stupid sometimes. All right, so Immortals of Aveum, I think, could be a game where you look... I'm trying to think of another game that came out in the past, right? I'm trying to think of a game that came out in the past. Like, what would you compare an Immortals of Aveum, right? I said Outriders, but I'm trying to think of another game that even came out, like, Bulletstorm, right? Bulletstorm. People like Bulletstorm, right? Bulletstorm was a good game, right? Wasn't a great game. Didn't have like this great reception. I mean, it's a different gaming market back then. But I would assume or compare like Immortals of Aveum with like a Bulletstorm type of thing. Lectum Battle Mage. Right. Bulletstorm, great game, not great success. Okay. That's where I see Immortals of Aveum. I think Immortals of Aveum down the road, someone picks it up. It's on sale. You pick it up and people are like, wow, that's actually a pretty good game. Why didn't it get more push? And I just think it happens to be where it landed, right? It got landed in the area, and now do they push it back? Do they push it back from where it landed now into next year? Maybe it would have been a better response, but I don't think that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean by that is, even if it did happen and it got pushed next year, I don't think it makes a better sales, right? I don't think we get a better player base. I just think it's just it's like a wet towel. It just landed hard, and that was it. Just go plop. Boss says that's how I felt about BG. I've always knew about BG, but never played it the same. Neverwinter or D&D. I knew that these would never be never played them, and I feel like I'm seeing the light for the first time for Baldur's Gate 3 is fun, right? So I don't want to say Immortals of Aveum is a bad game or a shitty game. I would like to know if you guys played it, if it's a complete game. You know what I'm saying? If there's big bugs and glitches, is it make a game, sell a game? Is the game complete at launch? I think it is. No one's really said anything bad about it, right? Like terrible as far as the technical aspect of it. Now, the story could be flat and stuff like that, but it could be a fun game overall. But I think this game will get a second chance down the road once it goes on sale and people pick it up and be like, "Oh man, this was a pretty good game. This was a pretty good game." Barbie literally beat everything. Do you guys understand it made $162 million in the opening weekend? Domestically. Domestically, it made $162 million domestically. Okay? It's at $1.3 billion right now. Right? There's movies. There's movies that, like, think about this. When Shang-Chi came out and everyone was raving that it made 70 million that weekend, they were like, "Oh my god. That's a fantastic," which is still shit. Think about that. Barbie made 70 in one day. Shang-Chi made it in 3 days in its opening weekend. Okay? Now we look at Gran Turismo, it only made 17 million domestically. That's insane. Right? They make it spin, though, because there was articles that are like, oh, Gran Turismo, #1 at the box office. That's great, but it didn't do very well. And it's a fantastic movie, right? I said yesterday, if you guys haven't seen or don't know if you want to go see Gran Turismo, it is a Rocky story. It is a Karate Kid story. It's about someone coming up in the ranks and getting picked on by other people in the industry, in the boxing and the karate, inside car racing. It's a good movie, right? So I recommend anyone that wants to go see it. Silent Warrior says where it landed, but also price point weighs a lot on people reviewing the game, in my opinion. Oh, absolutely. Right? Especially, I know people look at it and go, it's only $70. $70 is a lot to ask for a lot of people. The majority of the population that buys games, $70 is steep. Right? Remember, there was whole careers built on people getting secondhand games from GameStop. It's a multi-billion-dollar company made money because of used games. And that's getting less and less and less now because of the digital world. Had decent marketing, looked beautiful in the ads, and then it flopped on release. I got to look at what Battle Mage is. Which one was Battle Mage? That up real fast. Sanctum Battle Mage. Oh, this was a first person. Did they have like the magic in the hands and stuff, or did he have weapons? See his little creepy hands like up on the screen. Was it hand? Oh yeah, okay. So it's almost like the same type of stuff. So you were a magic user. Interesting. So it is like, I mean, obviously, Immortals of Aveum was a lot more faster pace. Interesting. I didn't even hear about this game. And boo, I didn't even hear about this. Reese says, so Gran Turismo didn't do well? It's not doing well. It's not doing well. It's only at 55 million right now in the first week of major launch. But I also let me look it up real fast, Reese, because I don't know if it came out full release everywhere yet. Yeah, no, it's full release now. Full release, 3,856 theaters across the country. It came out out now, August 25th. Yeah, it's not doing very good. You can see it made 8,000, 4,000, 4,000, 1,000. Not doing very good, which is a shame because it actually is a good movie. Hopefully it does better on the movie sales for DVDs and whatnot. Beat for beat, it's like watching history repeat. Yeah. I didn't even know about that game. So it's very interesting that maybe people just don't want first-person Magic games. But here's the thing. Then you have Skyrim. First-person, you could be Magic user, right? And now you have Avowed coming out sometime next year, probably, right? And then you wonder if that's going to sell well. But I guess it doesn't really matter if it sells well because Avowed will be on Game Pass. So that will overshadow if because people will play it without paying the $70, you know? A lot more people will play it. And it probably won't even be a full price game. It'll probably be like a $40 game, $50 game. Travis says, I've had so many good games this year. Do you think this means we won't have good games next year? What do you think? I think we're eating good this year. I think we're eating good this year, which means that you can't always eat good all the time, right? It's like splurging out there and like getting good stuff. Like you get a good paycheck, you're like, let's go to a steak restaurant, but you can't always eat at a steak restaurant. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be good games, right? Potentially, we could get a Grand Theft Auto 6 next year, right? We could get Wolverine next year. There's games that are getting pushed back to next year as well, right? Avowed could come out next year. Hellblade 2 could come out next year. And I say could because we don't know the actual dates of those things, right? So there's a lot of stuff that could come out next year where you'd be like, oh, wow, we're still eating good. But there's going to be a downturn, right? If that's things that get delayed or something just happens, because technically there's a lot of games that are in the works. Got Outlaws coming out next year, right? So right now, potentially in my brain, we have Outlaws coming out next year. We have maybe Wolverine coming out next year. Maybe Grand Theft Auto coming out next year. If I only bought 3 games, those are the 3 games I'm buying, right? And technically, I got to take Wolverine away because I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I can't buy that. So I have to pick another game that's coming out next year to be my 3rd game, right? Oh, that's true, Reese. So continuing the legacy of video game movies failing. You know what I saw? A lot of reviews of Gran Turismo, they're all complaining that it feels like a marketing ploy for PlayStation, right? Because of all the ads and stuff of PlayStation, which I find funny because it's okay in that form because it's a racing game. And if anybody knows about racing, the billboards, the advertisements on the side of the cars, it is advertisement. That's what racing is. So a lot of the critiques about Gran Turismo is that it feels like a long commercial for PlayStation, which is kind of stupid. No, it's not kind of stupid. It is stupid because racing has ads all over the place, right? And the movie, I should say, is based off the game from the makers of PlayStation. So of course you're going to see PlayStation advertisements in the, you know what I mean? So it's stupid. It's actually a really good movie. It's a really good movie. Anticipated games for 2024. Water wants me to go look it up. Let's look it up. Let's see. Something went wrong. Okay. Can't do that. Let's see what we got. Most anticipated games. 10 most anticipated games in 2024. Right. So you got Persona 3 Reloaded. Okay. You got Dragon Infinite Wealth. You got The Prince of Persia. I'm not excited about it, but it's a game for people, right? I'm not excited about it. You got Pale World, which I hear is good, but again, that's like a niche type of thing. The Wolf Among Us 2, it's a small game. Microsoft Flight Simulator, again, it's not. It's a big game. Don't get me wrong. Huge game. Avowed, okay. A lot of games coming out next year that I don't have to buy, right? They're on Game Pass. Hellblade 2. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And Star Wars Outlaws. This game right here is the one I'm looking for, right? This is a buy for me. This is a day one buy for me. I'm excited about that one. Hopefully we'll see what more about it. But look at this, right? Final Fantasy Rebirth. That's probably going to be coming out to Xbox. If not, it's on PlayStation only, and then I can't get it, right? Then we have Hellblade 2, which is on Game Pass. We have Avowed, which is on Game Pass. We got Flight Sim that's on Game Pass. Wolf Among Us 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, signed a deal where it's coming day and date on Game Pass. Right? Got Pale World, Prince of Persia, Like a Dragon, and Persona, which I believe is on Game Pass as well. So you're eating good if you're on Game Pass next year. Oh, that's right. That's coming out next summer, Dave. That's right. I don't know if I'm going to get it because I'm not a Souls type of guy, but that game looks phenomenal. That game does look phenomenal. Stop making fun of Shang-Chi. It's my new favorite Avenger. I'm going to make fun of it for the rest of my life, boss. For the rest of my life, I'm going to make fun of it. So get used to it. I would replace Pale World with Wolverine, but they don't know if Wolverine's coming out next year, Water. There's been no talks of when it comes out. Right? We don't know when it comes out. Here, let's look at this list, right? Let's look at this list. 2024 video game release schedule. Okay? We got Prince of Persia right at the turn of the year, January 18th. We got Tekken 8. We don't know about Suicide Squads. Where's that coming out? Okay? It says February 2nd. Okay? That's going to be a cluster. Okay? You got Nightingale. You got Destiny 2 Final Shape. Wait a minute. Destiny's Final Shape comes out in February next year? It doesn't come out this year? Final Shape comes out in February next year? Oh, boy. I don't even pay attention to it, but 33 Immortals is that one game that had 33 people that you can play it. Interesting. We got Arc 2 coming out. We got Avowed, Black Myth Wuhong, Blue Protocol. Let's see what else we got. We got Final Fantasy VII, like they said. Frostpunk 2. Greedfall 2, Homeworld 3, Little Nightmares 3, Mansion Dark Moon. Oh, Multiverses. I know you guys are excited about Multiverses. Oh, wait a minute. That was already out. And then they took it away from you. You spent money on it. What else we got? Oh, we got South Park Snow Day. That looks like it's going to be fun. The other South Park games were phenomenal. Starship Troopers Extermination actually comes out for PC and console, I believe. Like, actual launch. Yeah, see, right now I feel like there's a lot of things missing. My big game for next year, as of right now, as of August 30th, 2023, my big title is Star Wars Outlaws. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Is Snow Day an N64 remake? I'm not sure if it's a remake. I know it's in 3D. Maybe it is a remake, and they made it into 3D now, Robert? Yeah, no, boss, they're not giving it a chance. It really is. I mean, you saw it. You know. It's a good movie, man. It's almost like a movie back from like it's almost like a movie from the 90s, right? It's almost like a movie like the 90s, from the 90s. They better give me back my characters I earned in Multiverses when it comes back out. Well, no, Water, that was the beta. That was the beta. You have to probably unlock them again once the game comes out. Could you imagine if that actually happens? And they're like, yeah, no, that was the beta. Now in full release, you're going to have to re-earn the stuff. Oh, my God. Can you imagine the people that bought the stuff? They're like, no, you still own the cosmetics, but you're going to have to unlock the character again to get those cosmetics. That game would be dead on arrival. Dead on arrival if they did stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying they are, but would you be surprised if they did? I think we see Wolverine in the end credits of Spider-Man 2. Watch something that leads into it at least. That'd be cool. That'd be great. Brain says, I may go back to Destiny for the final expansion. Having that character I knew involved into everything they release could be fun. Can't do it, Brain. I can't do it. I love Destiny, Destiny 1, Destiny 2. I was just angry at it. I was just angry at it the whole time. Scoop says Star Wars and Wolverine for him. My two big ones, I don't if they don't get delayed, are Wuhan and Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws, I am more look, Starfield is literally a day away. Okay? And I'm more excited about Outlaws than I am for Starfield. And I like Bethesda games. I love Bethesda games. But I love Star Wars. And Star Wars to me feels more of like a Starfield than Starfield feels of Starfield. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like I can't wait for Outlaws. I can't wait for Outlaws. Brain says you own the cosmetics, but we decided not to use those cosmetics in the final release. No, they can use the cosmetics, right, Brain? But let's say you bought the cosmetics for Superman and you have the extra Superman cosmetics, but you don't. Now the game comes out, you have to unlock Superman before you use the cosmetics. That would suck. That would suck. That would suck. Boss says, I miss the old days where SOCOM would hold me over forever. Occasionally MSG or Metal Gear Solid. It would steal me a little bit. But back at SOCOM, then Call of Duty all year to the next Call of Duty. COD used to be great. Dude, COD up until, in my opinion, up until Modern Warfare. I know you guys like the zombies. I know you like the World at War and what's the other one that they do? Black Ops. Modern Warfare 2 was the pinnacle in 2009. And then to me, it went downhill. Now, Call of Duty is not even what Call of Duty was anymore. which is fine. It's just not my Call of Duty anymore. How long has Destiny 2 been around? 2017 is when it started. 2017. Water's like, at 30, you might as well finish it. Shut up, Water. We're not going back to Destiny. You're not. You're not going back there. Critics rated Gran Turismo around 69. Go read their reviews. Go read their reviews, Reese. Just glance through the reviews and tell me how many you find in their article or in their little sentence, how many talk about how it felt like a commercial for PlayStation. Water says, because it's Star Wars, the games are 50 times better than the new movies and shows, and it allows us to actually be in the Star Wars universe and feel important. I did watch episode 3. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. It's actually a better episode. So Ahsoka episode 3, there is a couple things in the show I'm just like, whatever. But overall, episode 3 is the best Ahsoka episode of the 3 so far. Which one's surprisingly good? Oh, Bad Boss. I was ready for it to be a Bad Boss items. For what game? Did I miss something? I'm 3 or 4 episodes into Twisted Metal and don't hate it. There you go. Surprisingly good. There you go. Your stripper ex-girlfriend is calling. No, Water always tries. He's like, maybe go back. Destiny's calling you. Water's that friend that was like, dude, you should call your ex-girlfriend. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Nothing could go wrong there. Not seen it yet. Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin anything for anybody. You go watch the episode. Speaking of zombies games, check out the trailer I just posted in general. All right, let me check it out. In general, what is this? Is it playing some like trademark music? Oh, we've seen this. We've seen this. This is just a trailer, though. Yeah, Toxic Commando. This looks fun. Yeah, we saw this on the they showed the trailers. We talked about this. Me and Sarge talked about this. This just looks like another fun, like Left 4 Dead type of game. Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead type of game. And this could be a lot of fun, right? This could be a lot of fun with a group of people. I don't know if this would be. I don't know if it would last long if you're playing this by yourself. But it does look fun. Robert Jones says, I took a break, I'm assuming from Destiny, and went back into it to get a new exotic. The game crashed, and I deleted it. You've seen the light. You've seen the light. Okay, do I have a... I don't have a... I don't have my clap. I gotta add that. I gotta add that in. I'll give you a round of applause. Robert Jones. Oh, no. And then you reinstalled it a few days ago? What? Oh. Oh, come on.
You blew it!
What are you doing? I was just giving you a round of applause, Robert Jones. Then you went back. You fell off the wagon.
I'm No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It looks like it's a mix of Left 4 Dead. Yeah. Yeah. It looks good. It looks good. Hi. My name is Robert Jones. Hi, Robert Jones. And I'm addicted to Destiny. Oh, okay. That's the first thing to admit that you have a problem. We'll help you through it, Robert. We'll help you through it. I know there's a bunch of you in here. I know there's a bunch of you in here that love Destiny. It's okay. Okay, you're welcome. You're all welcome to be here and stay here. I won't judge out loud. I won't judge out loud. 76 says, I haven't had a desire to play since removing it from my PlayStation 5. Hearing the loadouts have been disabled only reinforce it. Well, 76, I don't know if you would have time, but the amount of hours you told me you put into No Man's Sky, how do you find time to play a different game? Water's like, I can't stay. My clan is raiding tonight. It's not an addiction. It's a hostage situation. Jesse Back says, "Dirty, did you hear about how Ahsoka draws with 14 million views on it?" Let me tell you something. Those are shit numbers. I smell shit. Okay, Jesse, 14 million. Do you know that out of all the series, even Mando, even all the Marvel shows, they have never told you the amount of people that watch the show. Go look it up. They never showed you the amount of people that watch the show. They always told you the numbers based on the minutes watched, but miraculously for Ahsoka, because no one's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Do you understand 14 million views? Do you know how many that is? And the reason I ask that is, let's check the temperature in the room, right? With the amount of people that are watching Ahsoka based on their, claim, everybody you know right now should be talking about it. Why is that? Because when Game of Thrones Season 3 was at 14 million views, you couldn't go anywhere or turn a channel or a YouTube channel not talking about Game of Thrones, right? There was a vibe going on. There was people talking about it. You'd be at the grocery store, people talk about Game of Thrones. You'd be at school. You'd be at work. You would be at the diner. People are talking about Game of Thrones left and right. Oh my God, did you see Game of Thrones? Did you see this? And you're telling me that Ahsoka has 14 million people. 14, I know, I'm not getting mad at you, Jesse, right? 14 million people, and I hear crickets. Crickets. And I have my finger on the pulse of Star Wars. What a crock of shit that is. Well, people are talking about it, but not in a good way. That's true, Salty. Also, we also had a story yesterday that said that Samba TV, which only collects data in the United States, okay, only collects data in the United States, that 1.2 million people, or households, I should say, watched. So what you're telling me is that there was 14 people, I know it's not the world, but just average, there was 14 people per household watching Ahsoka when Ahsoka came out. Did they also tell you that they lost 40%, right? They lost 40% of viewership from from episode 1 to episode 2. Like, they just stopped watching. They didn't continue watching the second episode. Did you hear that Disney is selling physical copies of Disney Plus shows? Yeah. They're also trying to put some of these shows inside of movie theaters in other countries. Like they did that with Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, when it came out on Disney Plus, they actually charged people to go watch it inside the theaters in other places. One dude at Disney office has 13.9 million accounts logging in and watching. I'm just saying, look, if Saba TV only records United States at 1.2 million, you're telling me that there was 12 million people in the UK or Germany or Australia or everywhere else that was watching the show? I don't know, man. This seems a little sketchy. Right? I'm not trying to say there's some nefarious thing going on, but isn't it a little weird that they've never told you the amount of people that watched, and it was always the amount of hours watched, and miraculously all of a sudden now they tell you there's 14 million people watching Ahsoka, but yet it has less viewership in a stat than Andor, Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan. How does that work? One of these things is not like the other. Remember that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. One of these things. What show was that from? One of these things. Wasn't Romper Room? Was it Sesame Street? Was it Sesame Street? I think it was Sesame Street. View count is very bad barometer to use. The Starfield Direct has less views, or it did the last time I checked. It sat around 12 million, and yet it's always trending. Everyone's talking about it. But are you comparing that though to the Ahsoka? It was Sesame Street. Are you comparing that though, Embu, as that the barometer that they're using is true? I'm confused. The view count is very bad barometer. The view count. The 1.2 million or the 14 million? Or both? Maybe it's like impressions on Twitter. If you had it on your home screen, they count it as a view. Perhaps. She-Hulk Season 2 is happening? Good for them. I'm sure it'll have lower viewership than it did the first time. Isn't it one of the lowest rated shows, or is it one of the highest rated shows? Let's see. If Ahsoka has 14 million and Starfield has 12 million, and yet nowhere near the equivalent in popularity. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So if you look at the vibe of what happens with Starfield right now, right? Starfield is like everywhere, man. Like, people are talking about it. You see billboards and stuff, and it's all happening. You see all the stuff, even if you're not even looking for it. Then where's Ahsoka? It's on your Twitter feed. That's about it. It's rumored. It's the least watched show, I think. Let's see. Marvel TV ranking on Rotten Tomato. We have. This is not watch show, but this is the popularity of top show was Miss Marvel at 98%. Okay, then you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 95. You have Loki at 92. Daredevil's 92. Stop. How is Daredevil, that was on Netflix, at a 92, and Miss Marvel was at a 98? Did we watch the same goddamn show? What is happening here? WandaVision's a 91, Legion's a 91, Luke Cage is an 87, Cloak and Dagger 87, Moon Knight 86, Agent Carter 86. Now, obviously, these are not all on Disney Plus. They're all over the place. Falcon and Winter Soldier, 85. Jessica Jones, 83. The Gifted, 79. Defenders, 78. She-Hulk, 77. The Punisher, 65. God, Secret Invasion, 54. My God. Blade, the series? I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a thing. Hours, 48. Iron Fist, 37. Marvel Inhumans, 11%. Holy moly. I liked Luke Cage. That was pretty good. Ratings. Now let's see. Marvel shows. On Disney Plus. See if we can get that. Disney Plus Cinematic Universe show ranking. Yeah, you got What If at 12. I Am Groot at 11. Secret Invasion at 10. She-Hulk at 9. She-Hulk at 9. Falcon at 8. Werewolf by Night was 7. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special was 6. Moon Knight was 5. Hawkeye was 4. Miss Marvel was 3. Loki was 2. And WandaVision was 1. Every show since WandaVision has gone down in viewership, I believe. Let's see. I stand corrected. The most watched show is Loki, which is 2.5. Okay, that's numbers of viewers in the millions. 2.5. Falcon Winter Soldier, 1.8. Moon Knight, 1.8. WandaVision, 1.6. Hawkeye, 1.5. She-Hulk, 1.5. Miss Marvel, 0.78. Which I find very humorous, right? They don't even have the other one because it's not up to date, right? I find this very humorous considering this was the highest rated show on Rotten Tomato, Miss Marvel, at a 98%. Yet less than 1 million people watched it, or 1 million views watched it. You see what I'm saying? Something doesn't add up. I love numbers because numbers don't lie, right? So Secret Invasion suffers lower viewership versus other MCU shows. Do they have a chart? Yeah, look at this. Here's another article. Okay. Secret Invasion, 994,000. It still beat Miss Marvel. But yet Miss Marvel is the highest rated show. Now let's look at Star Wars. Let's look at Star Wars, right? Let me see. TV Insider. It doesn't want to open. It's like, no, you don't want to look at this. I do want to look at it. All of a sudden, the internet's not working. Don't look at that. The shows viewership. Come on, show me it. Show me it. It does not want to show me this link. Like, you don't want to look at that, do you? Okay. So let's look at this, right? Where is... It's important to know that SimBud's data is only based on the research panel, which includes 3 million smart TVs balanced and weighed to the U.S. censors across the age, gender, ethnicity, and whatnot. Okay. So comparing the debut of Ahsoka with some of the most recent releases from other platforms, Netflix, Deep V Herd has watched 1.1 million U.S. households. Painkiller was watched by 1 million U.S. households in first 4 days of the first episodes. Let's see. Unfortunately, it looks like the show's premiere hasn't pulled in many new viewers, but it's keeping existing Star Wars fans happy, and it's why Disney is going to be slowing down the amount of Star Wars shows coming to Disney Plus in the future. It reduces the franchise fatigue, but also to save money. Star Wars shows are expensive to create. It doesn't tell you the actual viewership here, though. Let's see here. According to Samba TV, watched 1.2 million U.S. households in the first 6 days. It puts the show on par with the viewership of the last year's Andor premiere, but slightly lower than the third season of Mando, which pulled in 1.7 million households over the first 5 days. Now, if it has less households, okay, less households, right? It says 50% of the viewership of the first episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was watched by 2.4 million households. So let me understand this. This show that has a 1.2 million viewership of Samba TV, where Obi-Wan Kenobi had 2.4 million households on Samba TV, but yet this one is the most successful Star Wars show, even though it's half of what Obi-Wan Kenobi was. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense to anybody? Doesn't make sense to me. Makes no sense to me. They weren't last year showing, right? May not lie, but they never said, they've never talked about people ever. And all the shows from Marvel that came out or Star Wars that came out, they have never talked about the people that have watched. All of a sudden, Ahsoka's got 14 million people. That means the number was so low on the other edge, they had to show you what the number was. 14 million people. We're talking comparing to Game of Thrones at its peak, at its height. No way this show's like that. No way. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. Maybe I'm trying to justify it, right? But I've watched Game of Thrones. I've watched shows that were much popular, and you can feel or hear people talking about it. Everyone knows about it. Half the people don't even know what Ahsoka is or who Ahsoka is. Let's go to the next topic. Super Mario Brothers Wonder includes in-game purchases. No, I don't know what this is. If you haven't read it yet, I don't know if it's a microtransaction store, if they're selling you something else. Don't know. We're going to read it together. Let's find out. Nintendo announced that Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct for August 31st, 2023. The Direct will bring us 15 minutes of gameplay details and insight of Mario's next big adventure, and we may end up learning more about some of the in-game purchases as well. The ESRB has rated Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and not surprising, the game has come away with the E for everyone rating. What's more interesting is the fact that the ESRB shows that Super Mario Bros. Wonder will include in-game purchases. At this time, we have no idea what these in-game purchases will be, but there's a wide range of possibilities. Most people do go right to paid DLC expansions when seeing this phrasing. It also could be possible. That said, a mention of in-game purchases could mean nothing more than Super Mario Bros. Wonder, including a button that takes you to the Switch eShop for purchases on the Switch Online. Hopefully, Nintendo explains this in-game purchase on August 31st. So they don't know anything, just like we don't know anything. But I think this is this part right here where it says, well, it could include a button that takes you to the eShop. I don't think you would have to put that for in-game purchases, right? Because if it's taking you from the game and bringing you to the in-game eShop, that means you'll probably be buying something for the game you're in. I don't see someone going, oh, I'm in Super Mario Wonder World here, and then all of a sudden it takes me and I'm buying something for like Breath of the Wild, or the Tears of Kingdom, or any other game. That seems a little weird. So I don't think this part here is. I think they're just trying to soften the blow. I think it probably will be DLC. I mean, right now, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they have in-game purchases. Pay a subscription model to continue getting courses. So instead of buying the courses, now you rent the courses based on the thing. I can see them going that route with Wonder, like DLC. I don't know if we pay for, like, you're paying for the skin. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to happen in a Mario game, but I would be shocked if it did. Couldn't go anywhere without hearing someone talking about Game of Thrones. That's my point. That's my point, right? To come out and verbally say that Ahsoka has 14 million people, to say that number and know that 14 million people watch Game of Thrones, that's a lot of people. No one's talking about Ahsoka. Like, nobody. So what do you guys think about the DLC in-game transactions here? The basically, I think this might be a nothing burger. You know what I mean? I think it will be DLC. Not to say that they're not going to put microtransactions, like I said, inside the game. They could potentially. But in this Mario type of game, what would you do? Right? Would you put cosmetics? And Boo says, God forbid the dinosaurs in Congress and Parliament actually get off their asses and actually write into a law that is a distinction between DLC and random ass gambling loot boxes. Right. Too early to say a problem. Yeah, I don't see a problem based off the information we have, Titan. I don't see in-game purchases as a problem because we don't know what that is. Right? If it's DLC, cool. Right? Make a game, sell a game. You want to add DLC, add a DLC. But if it's selling, like, again, they're not selling this outfit, right? This is a thing inside the game now. But if it's selling, like, power up, level ups, stuff like that, then we can start getting the pitchforks out for Nintendo. But I don't think we have that. I don't think we have that here. Yeah, I don't see it, Water. I don't see like a Mario skin happening or anything like that. Right now, I think this is like a nothing burger. Well, it's still, I mean, you got to understand, Titan. They're writing an article because they said there was in-game purchases. So they're like, oh, what's that? So they wrote an article. I think this article should have not been written until we find out tomorrow what the in-game purchases are. You know what I mean? So again, when we submit stories inside of our Discord, people read stuff and they just throw it in there. You get my first reaction majority of the time when I bring up articles up here. So I didn't know what the article said. So this is why I don't put my 2 cents in until after I read the article online with you guys. Right, exactly. Definitely need more info. Keep stories pertaining to this my site because it's definitely on my radar. Yeah, and that's basically what I want to do, right? If people are interested in something, I'm going to talk about it. This is why we talk about the news, right? We're reading the news, right? That's what it says above me. Live chat, reading the news. So articles get submitted by you guys. I submit stories. I see the article. I'm like, oh, I'll read that there. Like the title is clickbait sometimes, and it is. I don't see this as a problem. I don't see this as a problem. It's about time though. He's been wearing the same blue overalls and red t-shirt and white gloves for how many years now? You know what, Water? Also fought the same enemies. Fought the same enemies the entire time. We're worried about Marvel's Avengers only fighting the Hive for 2.5 years. Meanwhile, Mario's been fighting these goddamn Goombas for 35, 40 years, for God's sakes. Can we get some new villains? God. Come on, Dolphin. Mario's been fighting the same goddamn enemies. All right. Did you talk about Starfield review copy hubbub? I did not. Is there if you have the story, put it in our Discord. Mara's like, oh no, not you again. All right, next story we're going to talk about is Robocop Rogue City is part man, part machine, and delayed until November. Okay, the new release date was revealed in a fresh trailer showcasing cinematic and gameplay. We'll look at that in a second. Okay, Robocop Rogue City is part man, part machine, and all video game is also delayed as it turns out, from planned release in September to November 2nd, 2023. Now, the November date was revealed in the description of the latest trailer for the game, which blends the cinematic looks of the the ever-crumbling old Detroit with gameplay footage showcasing detective work and gory shootouts. Now, publisher Nancon didn't provide any explanation for the delay. What was the original date in September? I'm pretty sure they probably delayed it because of Starfield. Yes. And Baldur's Gate 3 coming out on the PlayStation. Just a guess. Right? So, the fact that the Steam page still indicates that Robocop Rogue City will launch on September, but this isn't the first time it's been pushed back. It's originally supposed to be out sometime in June, but got bumped into September earlier this year. Now, we had high hopes for at least the caution optimism for Robocop Rogue City back in 2022, fueled largely by nostalgia for Paul Verhoeven's brilliant 1987 film about the future law enforcement. But the closer look in the game in June left me cold. Movement is slow. It's Robocop. Like, can I just stop there for a second? It's Robocop. Did this person not know what Have you ever seen Robocop run? Doesn't happen. Robocop's not running. Okay? Movement is slow. And while he keeps the Robocop character, I don't think it's going to hold up, especially well over the course of the entire video game. Enemy AI also doesn't look great. Why do bad guys just stand there blasting? Because they're bad guys. Have you seen the 80s movie? Has this guy seen a Robocop movie? Other details, like Peter Weller's noticeable aged voice feel off. And of course, you have to wonder how the satire will hold up, or will be present at all. Van Horn's film is smart, sharp takedown corporate America bolster by one of the greatest casts on the screen villains ever assembled. And while it's also translated reasonably well as bias for a shooter, the film looked for all the world like a straight-up guns and guts action flick when the first appeared. And I'm not convinced that fans will be satisfied with the sacral edge. I can't pronounce the word. The edge isn't there. So we'll find out soon enough. All right, so let's look at the latest trailer, right? Let's look at this latest trailer.
Of a man whose identity
All Detroit has a cancer, and that cancer is crime.
new crime wave sweeping Detroit has already claimed the lives of 21 police officers.
Provokes a question. Can we put our safety into the hands of a machine?
An OCP holds the scalpel.
My name is Dr. Olivia Blanche. I'm a police psychologist. I specialize in dealing with police officers suffering from emotional trauma.
What's hiding in that metal head of yours?
I think we can both agree that you are no ordinary police officer.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Those trigger-happy maniacs have a ton of hostages.
Drop it, scum.
Anyone expecting a silver freak? Contact!
Lewis, you're here.
We need to get these elevators back online.
It's Robocop!
It's that service box, isn't it?
I am detecting a short circuit.
Wakey, wakey!
I'm looking at the map of this place, and it's huge.
OCP tracking device torn out. I am going to follow the blood trail.
However, one aspect of your composition that has been severely neglected is your human side, your brain.
We must smash that thing!
I've heard people refer to you by different names.
Okay there, Murphy?
Fire at will!
I'm curious to hear which one you prefer.
My name is...
It looks actually pretty good. Now, obviously, is this game going to be like a $70 purchase for the masses? Would I buy this game? I feel like this game's like a $50 game, right? I feel like it's a $50 game. I don't see it as a $60 game, and I also don't see it as a $70 game. I wouldn't go as far as to say this should be on Game Pass, okay? But I think this game, $40, $50. So if you wait for it to go on sale, I think there's some fun inside this game. Yeah, Soups, right? It might just be make a game, sell a game, right? But the 2 delays now from June to September, and now September to November, that's a little worrying, I'll be honest. Like, something's going on in the background that's not good, or they just moved it because of, 1, maybe Diablo, and then 2, because of Starfield. But why would you move it into September when you knew that Starfield was coming out? And when did they... Well, actually, hold up. When did they delay it from June to September? And was it announced that Starfield was coming out in September? It looks good. I mean, here, I'll play it again. Actually, there's actually... Here, you know what we'll do? Hold on. We watched it a couple weeks ago, but we'll do it again. Let's see, 7 days ago. 7 days ago, IGN.
Oh, look at that. One of the cops was actually bothered to show up. No need, SWAT's got it covered.
What is the situation?
Vultures came up with the great idea of robbing the OCP bank. They've got hostages, and they claim there's a bomb. They must be crazy to think that OCP will just let them leave with their money.
Was there any sighting of Spike?
Not yet. But I'm sure they wouldn't pull such a stunt without their leader.
What is the plan?
Let me make this clear. It's SWAT's plan. You're no part of it.
Then you are going to need a new plan.
I think the graphics look pretty good. Is this girl really sneaking in to a police barricade place? Like she's just going to go in, no one sees her?
With this buggy brain of yours, you think you still remember how to put the heat on them scumbags?
I prefer to serve justice cold.
Contact! Contact!
Let's show our metal friend how it's boys.
I'm sorry. Can I just... Who's playing this game right now? Did you guys see...
Let's show our metal...
Look how bad this person's shooting is.
Contact! Contact!
Let's show our metal friend how it's boys.
What is he shooting at? Is he shooting at that landing below? I think he was trying to shoot the floor out. I think that's what he was trying to do. It almost feels like the ADS is happening here. Ah, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to hit the roof before, but that was the floor underneath, not... Got it. Okay, so first off, I just want to say, the person that said that the enemies just stand around, they never watched a Robocop movie. Because that's exactly what they did back in the 80s. They would come out and be like, "Birds," and then they would get their head blown off, right? That's exactly what they did. And this game is taking place in the exact same time period, I would assume, right? I mean, they got the 80s hair going on. Come on, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. They got his walk down. They got him.
Please put down your weapon.
What's the paperwork like after this? When your cop just literally just kills everybody. Does he just sign off? I like the destruction on the walls. I love that punch, man. That punch makes it so good. Oh, that's cool. We got a little electric charge. Oh, it's like a metal plate and it's like ricocheting. Doing pretty fast there.
Find a way to get past it. Try finding the weakest spot in the wall
Punch.
around the gate and breach through.
Boom. We got like a special bolt time.
Come on, boys. I'm on it. Let's finish up here.
Do you notice right here the kill count? Robocop 43, OCP 29. You're like you have like a competition with the other guys.
Here, show them what it means to be a team player. Advance! Advance!
Uh-oh, Robocop. OCP is catching up, 46-37. It's gonna be a full price game. $55-44. Who's gonna win? OCP or Robocop?
Don't act like you're all
OCP's
that
only
impressive.
only
With all
only
that
6
fancy
back.
Tech, a brick would know how to shoot.
Robocop, I've received information that the bank manager is held hostage in the vault.
Where exactly is it?
Find the manager's
I like how he's whispering like he's gonna sneak up on somebody as his foot goes douche, douche, douche.
office, and we'll go from there. It's at the far end of the office area.
Your presence here is unauthorized.
So is depriving thousands of people of a roof over their heads. But OCP doesn't seem to mind that.
Explain.
Delta City. A heaven on earth that OCP plans to build in place of old Detroit.
That's some 80s hair if I've ever seen it.
A city of the future where there is no crime or poverty. Do you believe the commercials?
I am working on the no crime part.
An RPG.
Then OCP may become the object of your attention soon. In order to create Delta City, OCP must first get rid of people who live in old Detroit. Now that's a topic I'd rather do a story on than you glitching. OCP offered these people investment in the project. The value of their property would cover the cost of entering the business. The later gains will far outweigh the cost, supposedly.
You do not believe that.
All right, we're gonna pass this part. Let's move on.
Probably ask for that switch to be installed somewhere around my desk. Now, take the doors behind the desk and turn left. The way to the vault should be open now.
That's true, Sarge.
I will not contribute to depriving my grateful employer of his hard-earned savings. We're opening this vault with or without your help, you old nut job.
Every time he punches, it makes me laugh.
Robocop, I knew our founder would send his best.
We're not done yet.
Mr. Becker, you're still alive.
I only played dead so I didn't end up like you, with a bomb strapped to my body.
Robocop, you have to defuse it. The explosion could cause the company enormous losses.
I need the support of a combat engineer.
I saw that Orpheus kid playing puzzle games on his breaks. Ask him for help. I'll be watching you. From a safe distance.
Officer Washington, I am looking at a ticking bomb.
A bomb? Okay, I'm passing you through to the bomb squad.
Is there gonna be a
There's no
bomb?
time.
A bomb? Oh, there is. There's a bomb game.
24 volts.
Yeah, it looks actually pretty good.
It is a C4 explosive and seems to be homemade.
Yeah, that's what I'd expect from the street vultures.
I wouldn't pay full price for this. This is definitely like a $40, $50 game.
4 cables, green, 2 red.
Kind of bomb before.
Let's see what else we got going on here. That was a joke, Enbu. That the guy that was helping him wasn't the guy that he saw playing. That's 80s humor. That's you know what I mean? I saw a kid playing a thing, maybe he could help. That wasn't the guy who helped defuse the bomb. You know what this almost feels like? You guys know, the older you guys will know what I'm talking about. Like Time Cop, you know what I mean? Where you would step on the pedal and you would have your gun. That's what the graphics feel like to me a little bit. Does he have a left arm? Does he have a left arm? Because he's literally punching. No, I'm not like nitpicking here, but when he goes up to the guy, if you notice, he doesn't have the gun in his hand, right? He puts the gun down and then he punches with his right hand. And then he picks up the gun again. Like he puts the gun away every single time. Time crisis, thank you.
You're out of the bank already?
I have followed them into
He's a right-hander. He's got a left arm. He could punch him with the left.
So that's how they must have gotten here in the first place. It seems they're retreating into the old industrial area. That must be where they've hidden their getaway vehicle. You gotta hurry.
Maybe that's what the 2-month delay is. They're drawing the left arm. Yeah, the guy was an absolute asshole. He's like, I saw a kid that was playing. He could help you. Yeah, that was 100% a cheesy joke.
Robocop, there's a deserted warehouse.
There's a bunch of motorcycles. Try to punch him.
And it's big enough to store their vehicle. It's your best bet to proceed there.
Roger that.
Do you know what? There's games like this that, I mean, it's bad, right? The motorcycle's just riding around in a circle, but it's almost like a cheesy movie. You know what I mean? Like there's certain games that you play, and because of the nostalgia factor of Robocop, you look at this and go, it looks pretty fun, right? Most people probably like, this is garbage. This is definitely a game on sale. Some of you guys will buy it full price. Cool. But this is definitely a game on sale, and it looks like a good time. It does. It does look like a good time. Oh, I agree. 76. I agree. If Robocop could only use his left hand, his left hand's only to put bullets back in the gun. So can you swap weapons? It looks like you can, because the guys drop a weapon, or is that just ammo? Because they have to use, I don't think you can switch weapons. I think you only use your weapon. Well, actually, you can. You can change weapons. If you hit Y, he can change his weapon. There was an assault rifle up on top. I love the fact that you just don't take cover. Like, you look at his armor in the bottom left. It looks like you regenerate your health by yourself.
Let's roll. Playing any more games? Pick up, goddammit! Anyone listening to this?
Oh. Oh. Can pick up other weapons. And he's using his left hand. It's about time. Pretty cool. It's the walking first-person shooter. It looks pretty fun. Yeah, it feels like a rail shooter, even though you have freedom to walk around. That's why I said it feels like those arcade games. It looks pretty good. I mean, for what it is, obviously. Gameplay 2 months ago. Actually, oh,
You need to be taught some manners.
pretty good graphics. Is there a? I want to know more about like the menu system and whatnot. They don't really show it.
Say that. We fall out a lot because he brings a lot.
Here's another IGN thing.
Hey everybody, Max Scoville here. We're at Gamescom 2023, and I'm with my esteemed colleague Alex Simmons, who just got a chance to play Robocop Rogue City. What did you make of it? It's a Robocop game, but is it fun?
Slow is the main thing. Like, Robocop is super methodical in how he moves. He doesn't run about like you would normally do in a shooter. He doesn't really use cover like you would normally do in a shooter. He's a bullet sponge that just walks into the middle of the firefight, gets shot from every direction, but equally, he's Robocop, so he dishes out loads of death, I guess.
It seemed I got to watch you play a bit. It seemed good on a lot of levels, but I do have some questions and some hesitation. He's got his iconic sidearm, which is an awesome gun. Can you use other guns?
So you can. Like, the Auto 9 is his main weapon, and you can upgrade it a lot to have armor piercing, explosives, etc. But you can pick up grenade launchers and you can pick up other weapons. But frankly, I didn't have to. Like, we played a new level of the game, which is very much combat focused. It's about a third of the way into the game, and throughout 15 minutes, I think I died once. And that was my own mistake because I forgot to pick up a battery, which is a health pack in the game. And so
that's how he's getting his health
Robocop
back.
is invincible. And if you've got this great gun, why do you need a grenade launcher?
True.
Yeah, it's sort of I don't know.
True.
It's a little
Why
bit
would
of
you
a
need another
quandary
gun
there.
if your gun's
Now,
awesome?
Something that strikes me as interesting is this is also adding some like crime-solving elements, some puzzle elements, some branching narrative elements. Can you talk about those a little bit?
So they hinted at it, but they've not really shown exactly what it means. There's one part in this level where you find a perpetrator and you give them a choice. You can either show your empathy side, your human side, and let them off with a caution, or you can be Robocop, give them a ticket. Now, the dev has hinted that has much bigger implications later in the game, to the point where it affects endgame. But for me, all I saw...
Say endgame? I don't even know what that means in a game like this. There's endgame?
was somebody being just a little bit hacked off with me, a few swear words.
Yeah, Tim, I was thinking just as he was saying give a ticket, I was thinking of like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like LA Noir type of stuff where there's those action-packed moments, but there's also like the crime-solving type of stuff, right? Because you are a cop. That'd be interesting.
And off they went.
Now, this is the same studio that did Terminator Resistance, which, again, was a thing that could have probably just been a straightforward shooter, but it had a bunch of surprisingly ambitious RPG elements.
Yeah.
That had romance options, very, very sexy ones. A lot of people don't even know that. I feel like they're kind of taking a similar approach here.
Wait, this was a game? Did anybody play this? Did anybody play Terminator Resistance?
There was a whole bomb defusal sequence, which was like felt like almost a Resident Evil puzzle.
It's super simple. It is like, you know, which wire is the one to cut before it blows your face off. And again, they've hinted that there's way more stuff like that. This was combat, and there's going to be a lot more investigation. You know, Robocop's not really known for his investigation. It's dead or alive, you're coming with me. But apparently he does go out there, he looks for clues, evidence. I've not seen any of that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, it's sort of quizzical. This game is supposedly coming out very, very soon. So I'm
well, not anymore.
You know, skeptical but kind of curious at the same time. It's also an Unreal 5 game. Like,
yeah.
It's one of the first sort of wave of, you know, more advanced, more polished games to come out. What was your takeaway on sort of the technical side of it?
So it looks gorgeous, and like obviously Robocop himself is super pristine. You know, you can't fault that side of it at all. Even when he's going through the mission and he's shooting stuff, the destruction looks great. It's got that 80s jank, and I don't know if that's on purpose.
See, it does have the 80s jank, and I do believe it is on purpose.
Or whether it's just how the game is developed. But it feels authentic. Because the dialogue, even that, is super cheesy.
There was one instance where you shot a guy in the crotch and his animation falling over was like excessively drawn out, and I was like, that's some Verhoeven stuff right there. That's spot on.
Well, I would buy that for $1.
Yeah, I would buy that for $1. I was really impressed. Also, the destruction physics were really cool. Like, everything was just getting blown apart. Like, just a ton of that.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. Obviously, you've got your Auto 9, but you can use anything that you come up in against the game. And in this one level, there were these bikers that were attacking me, moving super fast, hard to shoot. But being Robocop, you can just pick up like a dustbin, throw it at them, knock it off their bike. And then when they're off, you can then pick up the bike and then throw the bikes at the bikes.
That's the part that got me kind of interested. Like, because I think it's Robocop has his strengths, literally and otherwise, and his weaknesses. And again, the sort of the plotting approach is it's tank controls. You know, like he is.
Well, Water. This company did Terminator. Now they did Robocop. Maybe the next up for them is Matrix.
Kind of tanky, and it's now they mentioned I think you can pick up other weapons.
A Rambo game like this would be cool as well.
Weapons. You mentioned the grenade launcher.
Yeah.
I feel like he does get the big 50 cal sniper rifle at some point in the movies, right? And
yes. And then at one point you do fight the guys that have got that. There was one bit where you go into a room where there are snipers, grenade launchers, and people with massive machine guns. You can go and pick them up, and you can use them if you want. But again, the Auto 9 was so powerful. I was like, hey, I'll just stick with this.
It's interesting. I'm curious to see where this goes exactly. Did they talk about lore at all, like where it takes place in the timeline?
So it takes place directly after Robocop 2 and before 3. In terms of story, all we know so far is that obviously Rogue City is overthrown by these street vultures, which is this gang, and obviously there is this friction between OCP and Robocop.
Do people still like Matrix after the lukewarm movie? Thanks for becoming a member. I think if you make a Matrix game based on, thank you very much for becoming a member, for 7 months. Hold on, happy Starfield Day. If you take Matrix and put it during the first movie, I think it's a win. If you take it place after with the lukewarm reception, yeah, sure. I mean, this is RoboCop. He just said this one takes place after RoboCop 2. Between 2 and 3. So yeah, why not just make it after Matrix 1 or 2? I think that'd be okay.
Like, you go up against OCP.
Sorry, Akuta Papa. I was like in the moment. So I appreciate it very much for the 7-month membership, man. Appreciate that.
And a lot of the levels, and if you do well, you get bonus points to go towards XP. If you don't, well, you're just going to be lowly Robo.
Interesting. Now, there's one mechanic that I thought was.
What did he say there? There's like
was very, very
between owned by these street vultures, which is this gang, And obviously there is this friction between OCP and Robocop. Like, you go up against OCP in a lot of the levels, and if you do well, you get bonus points to go towards XP. If you don't, well, you're just going to be lowly Robo.
Interesting. Now, there's one mechanic that I thought was very, very authentic, where he could bust through walls and do sort of a breach mechanic.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Did that feel good? That's one of those ones you kind of need to do it yourself.
Of course, but it's exactly like, I guess it's the same thing that you would see in Call of Duty. You bust through a wall, everything goes into slow motion.
You are right, Dave. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow at 8 p.m.
You pop out the pistol and then headshots all around. Yeah, it feels great. And I'd like to see more of that. I think that ultimately that was my takeaway. I kind of like what I've seen so far, or it's got me interested, but I want to see all the other stuff that's been spoken about. I want to see the investigation side. I want to see the differences that those choices make.
So there is an investigation side. There is an investigation side.
And hopefully that will be in the next thing that we see.
Yeah, well, one way or the other, Robocop Rogue City is coming out sooner than later, which is kind of shocking. Would you buy it for $1? We'll kind of have to wait and see, but we've got lots more coverage coming out of Gamescom.
I think it actually looks pretty good for what it is. Obviously, again, don't know some of you are full of nostalgia. Do what you want with your money, but I would wait to see what that game is, to see what the investigation stuff is, see if there's more of a RPG element to it, see if there's more like upgrades and stuff that you can do. And then there was another video that IGN did like 6 months ago that was talking about it as well. But I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Obviously, is it a game that's going to sell like millions and millions of copies? No. Hundreds of thousands of copies, I think so, but not millions. They did a good job with Terminator Resistance. So if they did a good job with that, and they do a good job with Robocop, then I'm going to push for either a Matrix one or a Rambo one. Who else could they do? Who else could they do? Those are all gun-based type of things. It would be cool. Just do a John Wick. Screw it. Forget Matrix. Go straight to John Wick. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. All right, what else we got? So far this morning, the three main stories we talked about. We talked about Immortals of Aveum. Not doing very good. We talked about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. It said it had in-game purchases, but they really don't know much about the in-game purchases yet. We got to wait for tomorrow for the Nintendo Direct. Maybe they'll drop some more information on that. That's a nothing burger there. And then we watched RoboCop Rogue City, where it got delayed again from November. Now, I don't know if that's a delay because of the game itself, or is they're trying to separate themselves from what's happening right now in the month of September, which would be Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 coming out for PlayStation 5, right? So two massive games. It's now releasing Baldur's Gate 3 on PlayStation 5, and then you're moving Starfield into the equation as well. Maybe they're just trying to stay clear a week or two, and they pushed it out of September into November. So overall, though, RoboCop Rogue City looks pretty good. I wouldn't pay full price for it if it is a $70 game, but if it comes down to around $50, I think $50 is the most I would pay for it, all depending on how long it was. If it's 8 to 10 hours, I think that's pretty good. Obviously, then lower than that. Drop the Starfield story in the Discord. Okay, let me look at that now. Let's see. Bethesda Starfield review copy. Wilderness continues long standing. Okay, what is this? This is not going to tell me. All right, this is Paul Tassi. When did he write this one? Today. This is Starfield review copy. Wilderness continues a long standing tradition. What is this about? Okay. Let's read this. I don't even know what this is going to be about. I hate the Forbes thing. The way they expand. All right, Bethesda Starfield review copy. Wilderness continues, or Weirdness continues long-standing tradition. Now, another day, another Starfield controversy, this time about Bethesda is handling review copies with some specific UK publications, namely Eurogamer, who reported they did not get a review copy of the massive game until yesterday, which means there's not enough nearly time to actually review it before embargo tomorrow. Before I even get to that, before I continue reading, because you are an outlet, okay, just because it's a big game or if you're someone that's like upper echelon of like, I don't know, you have 100 million followers or whatever, it doesn't give you the right to say that I didn't get a code, right? They can give codes to who they want, and you can judge them who they give the codes to based on what they want, right? They give codes to big guys or not big guys or small guys, whatever, or not big outlets. That's the company's point of view of who they want to give it to. Let's go on to it. Eurogamer joins a number of outlets in the UK which didn't get copies of Metro UK Edge and The Guardian. Reportedly, this is a contrast to a pretty huge number of the US outlets getting copies. And as I've previously remarked, loads and loads of content creators on YouTube, even small ones, some of whom have broken various embargoes, stipulations in their excitement. So Bethesda and review copies of their games have a long history of being weird, and they also keep kind of finding themselves in this situation unnecessarily. Some history. There was a time when Bethesda decided that they would simply stop giving out advanced review copies to press at all. This was a statement they issued at the time. Quote, while we were continuing to work with the media, streamers, and YouTubers to support the coverage, both before and after release, we want everyone to include those in the media to experience our games at the same time. Let me pause there for a second. Now, you saw all the stuff that's happening with the review codes right now, right? So before, they wouldn't even give review codes, and they wanted everyone to play at the same time. But then people were like, well, then I don't know if I want to buy the game because I don't know if it's going to be good because I didn't get enough time to see a review copy, and they didn't do this. Yet, you see right now people getting the game, people that signed NDAs, releasing footage of a game, okay? So if you were the company, the next major game you have coming out, are you going to give review codes to people? Probably not, right? Probably not. Just because they basically ruined it. Now, obviously, there's also the game companies out there, and when I say game companies, like the mom and pop stores, GameStops, and stuff like that, are giving people copies early, and those people didn't sign an NDA. And then they're also giving games. So can you blame the company for not wanting to give review codes out to certain people or certain times? I can't. So this goes on and says, this was deeply strange that most of their games are reviewing pretty well, and they seemed to end up hurting the games like Prey. And it's also very good with the no advanced reviews saying that the idea was to perform worse than it would also otherwise be good buzz heading into the release. So while the practice ended, Bethesda's odd review embargoes have stayed in place, usually only dropping a day before Starfield's case. The day of. Starfield's review embargo is over at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, with the game launching at 8 p.m. Eastern. While some cite this as a red flag, this is just how Bethesda embargoes usually work, which is weird, but it hasn't really been hiding anything in the past. Bethesda also has been reportedly blacklisted outlets and individuals for most famous examples is the Kotaku report inside information on Fallout 4 would be set in Boston. As a recent Eurogamer issue came up of Jason Schreier, formerly of Kotaku, now of Bloomberg, said that he's also been blacklisted by Bethesda 13 years as a result. Shit. Why are you surprised if you leak something of something that they can ban you or blacklist you? Well, welcome to the industry. Welcome to the industry. As for what's currently going on in Eurogamer and otherwise, there's also theories, but naturally Bethesda is not going to explain or comment. It does seem strange to focus on the UK outlets so specifically. Oh, I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing. Do you guys see what they're doing? Do you see the spin that they're trying to do right now? Do you see the spin? I haven't even read on. Okay. Do you see the spin? Why isn't the UK getting copies right now? Anybody want to take a guess? And Boo says it. I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why the number of outlets in the UK, it's a shot across the bow in regard to the CMA. Right? Right? Now, do you see how the industry works? Now, we can't say, but it does seem a little odd, right? It does seem a little odd. So it's unclear why the region would also warrant less access than any others. Microsoft takeover Activision Blizzard is currently held up in the UK, pending on resolution, but we also be odd to tie this whether or not if it's send Starfield copies to the UK outlets. And they're spending them. And they are sending them just late, which also could be something the UK specific PR end. So one unproven theory circulating the Eurogame case, at least, there's a review scale, which uses a 5-star system with no half points. and could bring down the Metacritic average of the game when Starfield is no doubt aiming for a 90 plus, especially if it's usually a competitive year. Eurogamer, for instance, gave both Tears of Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3 4. This is a bad sentence right here, right? You need to put like a comma or something. Tears of Kingdom 3.4 out of 5 stars. That was one of the lowest scores given to either game, and from one of the biggest gaming sites in the market. While 4 out of 5 may be good for a movie review, in a video game world, that's an 80 out of 100 on Metacritic, and almost guaranteed to bring down the average really well-received game that may not be right, but that's how it's viewed. This is the game. This is what's happened. Bethesda would be far from only company to try to herd scores of specific outlets and reviews in a controversy. Spending the copy is extremely excited for YouTubers who will probably produce nothing but hype for the most part, and if they don't like it, it won't feed into the Metacritic. It's not a good system, but it's marketing, and the publisher also control over that it gets copies and who doesn't. But what's even worse is that the Eurogamer revealed that this happened. The overwhelming string of replies and received from fans is good for you, you deserve it. That shows this is probably not the PR hit maybe it should have been. So it's not clear exactly what happened here, but Bethesda has had a very odd relationship with review copies for a long while now. Starfield seemed to be better as the average of length of review period for 2 weeks, and a lot of the copies going out. But while no one is entitled to a copy, situations like what happened in the UK are definitely strange. And honestly, I'm wondering even if they're writing this article at all might land me on the list somehow. I don't love that feeling. Oh, for God's sake. You're worried about being blacklisted? Well, you better talk good about stuff then, right? I personally don't care. Not about this, not about what he's saying. I don't care. I'm going to give you my honest opinion, and if I get a code or don't get a code, I have 1,400 subscribers. Okay, no one's giving me a code, and I got a code for Starfield. Okay, you think Bethesda was like, oh yeah, give it to that guy, right? They don't even know who the fuck I am. Okay, and if I actually like it, I'll tell you I like it. I'll tell you the problems with it. I'm going to tell you if I don't like it, right? There's no change because Bethesda themselves didn't even give me the code. It's through an actual third-party site that gets codes, and they give them to people who apply first, okay? The person who wrote this sounds butthurt. It's Paul Tassi, okay? The fact that Eurogamer wrote an article, did you guys see this? I put it in our Discord yesterday. I think I put it in the general game chat. I thought this was hilarious. Okay. Eurogamer, the ones that he was just writing about, wrote an article yesterday talking about our review will be late. Okay. Our review will be late because they didn't give us a thing. Okay. Here's an update on their site. They say, an hour ago, after publishing this blog, Eurogamer was provided a Starfield review copy. Or review code by Bethesda. As stated below, our review will not be complete before the embargo, but we can now begin to work and to provide you with Eurogamer's judgment of the game. Who cares? Who cares? You could have not written this article 1 hour. 1 hour after this. They cried about not getting a review copy, and then they gave them a code. Okay? But they had to write an article. And the way they wrote it was, well, we want to be transparent, well, because people are depending on us. No one's depending on you. No one's depending on me. No one's depending on anybody. You know what they're depending on? Google search. Starfield review. Who's got the review? They don't care. What have you done for me lately? Okay? Fairweather fans, left and right, they don't care where they get their info. They just want the info. So everyone's competing on YouTube. I have to get it first. Like tomorrow, Ho Carnage gets to play it at noon or 11 o'clock, right? Dr. Lupo gets to play it first, right? 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So they have a certain people that are out there that they can get it first. I don't have it. Like, who cares? Who cares? The whole point of this is to get information out there and for you and for me to get the information we need if we like the game or not. Well, I'll tell you what. Everyone that's interested in the game, everybody that's interested in the game has already bought the game. Everybody. Everybody else that is on the fence going, I don't know if I should buy the game, $10. $10. That's all it is. That's all it is. They did specifically give one Digital Foundry, who is a branch of Eurogamer, though, which tells me they are confident about the game. And Boo says, I wouldn't fault them for it. The CMA is costing Microsoft money, stonewalling them, but also more blacklisted due to breaking embargoes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Either case, the outlets brought it on themselves. I don't think it's like, well, good, you don't deserve it, like they said in the article, but you don't deserve it. No one deserves anything. Just because you have an outlet covering video games doesn't mean they have to give you a code, right? And to think that because someone lower than you got a code, or someone that's much smaller than you fundamentally, like obviously Code Carnage is going to get it, and Ralph didn't get it, right? Didn't get a code. So, oh, well, Ralph didn't get a code, so they're hiding something type of thing. It's like, no, they just don't want to give codes to certain people for whatever reason. And they have every right to do that. Every right to do that. I see what's happening. No, taxation with representation. How many times we have given the bird to the UK? The person who wrote this sounds butthurt. In the end, they already said that. In the end, up they're giving up. They're probably going to rush a review out in 2 days. Now, way to turn it out well. Right. They're going to rush to try to get it out, and they're not going to give you the full review, right? I would almost, and this is why I don't do reviews. One, I don't do reviews because I don't want to ruin the game for myself, where I have to run through the goddamn thing as fast as possible in the most unhealthy way possible so I can get clicks. I would personally rather a month from now play a game that I love. You come into my live chats, ask me how I like the game, what's going on, and at the very end, when I'm done with the game, go, hey, how did you like the game? And I go, this is the good parts, this is the bad parts, this is what I like. I personally will never care. I don't care about my viewership. I don't care about the subscribers. I don't. Whoever's here and enjoying my content is enjoying my content. Whoever comes to my live streams and sees my live streams enjoys the content, right? I don't care. And I know it sounds stupid, okay? But you like what you like, you don't what you don't, okay? And if you watch someone and we just have a good time and talk about stuff, I don't care if the game is a 10 out of 10. I don't care if it's a 2 out of 10. I play shitty games. I play great games. I play games that I'm interested in playing and talking about and doing what it is, right? I don't care if I get something early. I don't care if it's a month after it comes out. I'll tell you how I like the game. I literally played Transformers, right? That's 13 years old, okay? And 10-year-old game. I don't care. I don't care. I hope you guys are enjoying. That's what I care about. One person, 100 people, 1,000 people. I don't care. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy my content. I don't care if I get a review code or not. The audacity, though, of these big companies. He didn't get a code. How are we supposed to do our job? I don't know. Review. I don't know. There's 1,000 other games. Buy a copy. Force your slave labor content creators that are inside your Eurogamer or any other company that has to sit there and play games unhealthy amount, to get that review out, and then throw it out there just so you get impressions. This shows how scummy the whole industry is. I don't know if it shows it's scummy. Are you saying it's scummy, Okoki, because Bethesda doesn't want to give them a code, or scummy that Eurogamers bitching that they didn't get a code, or all of the above? You know what this reminds me of? And I know a lot of you can see on one side of this and on the other, that are adults anyway. When you work for a company, right? When you work for a company, and 1 year you get a bonus, right? You get a bonus. At the holiday season, they give you a bonus. That year, because the company did well, they go, you know what? Here's a bonus. And they give you a bonus. To then think next year, right? We don't know what the sales are for the business, and the business doesn't give bonuses. To say that my boss is an asshole, or I didn't get a bonus this company sucks, is staggering to me, right? It's staggering to me, because bonuses are called bonuses for a reason. You don't just automatically get a bonus, right? Bonuses are earned based on what you're doing, right? So a code in this analogy, when you work for a company reviewing games and whatnot and your outlets, you don't always need to get a code just because you got a code the time before. That's just the way it is. It's a bonus. They have no obligation to you, especially nowadays when there's so many ways to look at a game. You don't have to buy a game day one. You don't have to buy a game week one. You don't have to buy a game month one. There's plenty of opportunities for them to advertise that game for someone to go, is it right or wrong for me? Day one, don't buy it day one, buy it week one. Then you have 7 days to look at reviews of people that are playing or give impressions. So simple. Silent Warrior says, yes, but unfortunately, this generation has a strong sense of entitlement. Hey, let me tell you a story real quick, Silent Warrior. This is how much entitlement they have. Okay. Those of you that, have Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that, not everyone celebrates it. But we have a farm. We have a farm, and we have employees. And my father-in-law, it's his farm. He gives the employees a Thanksgiving turkey as an appreciation of saying, hey, thank you for working this holiday season. You get to pick a turkey. Now, I don't know if you guys know how expensive a turkey is, right? You can go out there and spend lots of money for a turkey for your family, okay? There's some people that have no appreciation. They don't even say thank you. They don't even say thank you, right? They want more. You give them an inch, they take a mile, okay? They feel like they're entitled. Oh, well, I thought I was getting a turkey anyway, right? And it's like the audacity. The audacity is mind-numbing. Okoki says, all the above. Companies acting with double standards, outlets having too much clout and feeling entitled. Insist between the media and the compare. Absolutely. I feel like everyone, it's hard to say this because I don't have a lot of followers, okay? But I know who I am, right? I know who I am. And I don't give a shit. I know it sounds like a thing. I don't give a shit if I have 1 million followers or if I have 10. Okay. I wouldn't think that anyone owes me anything, right? Wouldn't owe me anything. Okay. To think that because I got a code from Bethesda from this time, then the next game comes out and I'm like, well, I didn't get a code last time. It's like, oh, there's something wrong with this game. It's like, that has nothing to do with anything. They maybe this time around they went, you know what? Let's give it to other people. Let's give a shot to other people, right? Let's see what they do with it. But instead, people are like, well, he didn't get it. Oh, I can't believe that guy got it. Does that guy get it? I didn't get it. It's just baffling to me. It's just baffling to me. Everyone thinks their shit doesn't stink and everything is like perfect in the world, right? And if they don't get it, they cry about it on Twitter. I didn't get a code, right? And then all of a sudden they get a code and they're like, oh, see? They gave him a code because they cried. I wouldn't have gave him a code. I wouldn't. I don't care about the CMA or anything like that. I would have been like, no, we're giving some other person a chance. Play it like everybody else. Let's hear what you have to say afterwards. Because I guarantee you, in Eurogamer's review now, when they do it, I guarantee it. They'll put in there, we didn't have enough time to review, so here's our first final thoughts. In that you deserve the world, you can do anything you want mentality, it's poisoned the well. The world doesn't owe anyone anything. You can't do anything you want, you receive no consequences. Exactly. I worked on a turkey farm when I was a kid. The owner would give us hands, give the hands all birds. It was awesome to him. Yeah. For him to do that, you understand what goes into, I'm not saying you, 76, but for a farmer to pay for that fee, to feed the birds, right? And to do all that stuff, there's money there, right? You're paying for the labor, you're paying for the feed, you're paying for everything, right? And then to just say, here, this is yours, right? This is yours. Thank you for working here. Thank you here. Here's a meal, right, for your family. Have a great holiday. They're like, give me a bird. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not want a bird? All right, great. We'll give it to someone else that wants it. Outlets think they're entitled. I think content creators also think they're entitled. And this has nothing to do, because I know someone might clip this and send what Lono was talking about 2 weeks ago when we were talking about it, when someone brought up that he didn't get a code and I got a code. I didn't get a code. I didn't get a review code. There was no review code. Right? I got the copy that was from the day, like early access, like anybody else. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, I can play the game like anybody else. Right? That's what we were talking about. But people took that he didn't get a code for that as he didn't get a review code, which has no bearings on anything that we were talking about. We were talking about Keymailer and how they give codes out to people. And then he started talking about how they pick and choose on how they give codes. That could be. It could also be like who applied first of people that are eligible. I don't think they look at the numbers. We have 10 codes. We have 100 codes. We have 1,000 codes. Right? That's how I think they decide. There's some games I get and some games I don't. Do I think they're picking on me? No. Do I think they look at me and go, "Oh, he's only got 1,200 or 1,300 people. We don't want to give it to him." There's plenty of games that give me codes, and every time they give me a code, I decline it. I'm like, I don't like your game. I don't want to play your game, but I appreciate your code. Thank you very much. Right? If you act entitled, you got a code, or even if you break the code, on my end, did send it consequences. Yeah. It's all proved Bethesda's point. Integrity would make them delay it, but they won't. Right. Well, when you spend so much money and then you delay it, you got to recoup your money. You got to recoup your money. They recoup their money. Believe me. Right? If we find out that this game costs $250 million, $300 million, they'll make the money back. Right? Because we know, now obviously, not everyone that's playing tomorrow, some people were given codes, but if you look at what Starfield potentially, right? Everyone that's playing tomorrow paid $100. Well, sorry, minimum $30. Minimum $30. Okay? And then other people $100. So let's just say what? If it was $30, I'm sorry, $30 times, what do we think? Let's say, I'm trying to think of, because if it's $30 and it's just the 5 million sales, that's 150 million. That's halfway to the $300 million mark, right? But we know for a fact that people paid $100 for the premium edition type of thing. I'm gonna say there's like at least 3 million, 3.5 million, right? Let's go with 3.5 million that bought it for 100. Okay? Which would make it 350 million just off that alone. Right? Just off that alone. And then the people that paid $30 for the Game Pass upgrade to pay it 5 days early. Right? That would be another 150 million. So right now they're already at $500 million. Right? 500 million. They've already made their money back. No bashing, but Lono has just been ranting like a madman the last couple of days. Had to leave the live stream, like an honest skepticism, but I can't do the back and forth. I don't know, Tim, what the context is, and obviously me and Lono are friends, so I'm never going to bash him and I'm never going to defend. I just don't know the context because I don't watch him live. Like when we have our conversations on Friday, there's no prep or anything. Literally, I come on the show, gives me a topic, and we go back and forth. I don't think, and again, I haven't seen it. I don't think he feels entitled at all. He bought the game like months ago. I don't think he feels that he's entitled at all. Usually what happens is, as a content creator, you usually buy the game, and then if you get the code, you just accept the code, because then you can submit, and then it looks good on the back end, right? So like in Keymailer or any other a program that's out there, if you get a code and you didn't buy the game, then you got the code, right? And then you submit your footage. But if you bought the game, then you still accept the code, because then you can give that code out, but you accept the code, and then you can submit your footage for them. And then it builds up behind the scenes of, you did coverage of this game. They go, oh, this person, he covered the last 10 games we gave him. So the next time you get a code, they could be like, oh, we'll give him a code because he does coverage, right? That's the type of stuff. Silent Warrior, thank you very much for the 3-month membership. I don't think he's entitled. I just think been him going off about the thoughts on the boundary. Well, we're probably going to talk about that on Friday. It'd be a good back and forth, because I see what he's saying, because I watched his thing yesterday, the opening dialogue about the Post-it note example. He was saying that the boundary is the Post-it note, and there's no world. And I'm okay with no world, because I don't feel like, but again, I knew going in it wasn't going to be a world, right? I knew. Silent Warrior, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate that very much. I knew it wasn't going to be the world. I said when they did the cutscene, I said it's going to get real old going in the cutscenes over and over and over with the ship. And then about 3 months ago, I said with another video they showed, I said there's no way you're going to be able to walk from here to there. I was like, this is why the load screens are there.
Thanks for becoming a member.
I said, but we'll see. So me going in, I wasn't expecting not to be a boundary. And then when we played Fallout 76 the other night, I made the example of, if I stand in the middle of the map at Fallout 76, I believe it's 16 square miles. I actually have a document that I got. Let me open this up so to show you guys. I'm not going to show you the document, but I'll show you what I'll speak about
Thanks
what I
for
wrote
becoming
down.
a member.
Right. So I can't expect a Bethesda game to do something that a Bethesda game didn't do before. Right? Bethesda before. All right, so this is the stats.
Thanks for
Fallout
becoming
3,
a member.
Fallout 3's world map is 17 by 17 square miles. Okay? It's 289 square miles. Okay? Fallout New Vegas map was 19 by 19 square miles, or 361 square miles. Fallout 4's map was 30 by 30 square miles, which is 900 square miles. Okay? Skyrim, okay, it says every area that has its own settings, including dangerous wildlife and challenges available, all would spread across the area roughly 16 square miles, which was compared to the size of the real-life South Los Angeles. Okay, at 15 square miles, Skyrim's world is big, but it's the list that looks at other games' worlds bigger than Skyrim that could also keep players busy for a long time. People like Skyrim, right? Skyrim was 15 square miles. And then we have Fallout 76, right? Fallout 76 has a 16 square miles, which is the same, okay? Well, actually, it's a little bigger than Skyrim, a little less than Fallout 3. So every time you land, if you just go to the middle of the map of Starfield, or of Skyrim, or Fallout 76, that's how big each tile is, okay? That's how big each tile is. So to, like, say that there's no world, you're comparing it, and I'm not saying Lono's comparing it, I'm saying if there's no world, you're comparing it to No Man's Sky, because No Man's Sky, it literally has a world. We played it last night. You could literally go around the whole entire world. Okay? It takes hours, and some planets could take days, okay, because of how big they are, because just walking in a straight line. I don't think that's a problem. Geographically, what Lono was talking about was that if you land on a spot and they have water and water's off to your right, that's where the water would be. I also think, and this is my own opinion, that based on the map, and I'm going to use the United States as the example. I said this last night, I said this yesterday's stream. If I pick on Florida and I choose that square miles, and it's 16 square, across the board, you're going to have water to your left, you're going to have water to your right. I take off. I go up just a little bit north and click another spot. We're going to have the left and right with water on the side, and it's going to follow the coast because that's the map that's drawn on the thing itself. So if I click on a space, and again, I don't know this, I'm assuming that if I click on it, the water's always going to be, it's going to predict and say that, okay, this square that we're making is always going to have water to our right because you clicked on Florida, right? So now if I click on the mountains, okay, so I'm not going to see mountains. If I click on Florida, I'm not going to see mountains because we have no mountains, okay? And I don't think if I click on Florida again, it's going to pre-generate something and show me a mountain because there's no mountains in Florida. But I do think if you click in the mountain area of the Appalachians or the Rockies, if you click near that area, it would procedurally generate a place where mountains are. And then if I clicked it again, it would, again, make procedurally generated mountains. So it's not, I don't think it's, you can't walk to the mountains. You won't see mountains. And I know there's a thing where someone went right next to the city and they couldn't see the city. Okay, can't see the city because the city is when you click on the city, it's its own tile that's created. It doesn't exist in the geographical of that map, right? For the procedurally generated stuff. So if you clicked on that spot, technically, if you could click on the spot where the city is, it would just pre-generate the map without the city there because it knows the geographical setting, but it doesn't know that the city's actually there, if that makes sense. When I was on this channel earlier, it was going hard in on the idea that Bethesda was excluding the outlets because they have something to hide. I didn't seem to be entertained to the other side of that coin. I mean, we could always say that, right? You could always say they're hiding something. I mean, even we can assume that the reason the EU didn't get is because of the CMA. We can assume that because of what happened. But do we know if that's the fact? No, we don't know it's the fact until it actually is fact. Up until that point, right? We don't know. We can assume. I want to make Starfield walking montage with Proclaims playing the background, but now I can't do it since we have barriers. I just feel like the scenarios, if you're looking for the borders, you're going to find it. If you're not looking for the borders, you're not going to find it. Is it immersion breaking? It could be for some. I don't think most people are going to even care. Tim says, I just think that what you say and what you do, you should line up. But it's like every time I watch a stream, it's one positive and every 10 negative. I don't know if that's true, Tim. I don't. I think people lean towards certain things. He does, in my opinion, he looks at both sides. He's pretty educated on what he's doing. If it's 5 squares, maybe it's set up like a plus sign. A box center in the square. Oh, I see what you're saying. Is it 5 or 4? So you're saying, because I know that they say if you go to the 5th square, the first one disappears. But my question is, unless you have a house there, why do you care to go back to the same thing? Unless there's a point of interest, obviously, right? But if you went to the point, I find a factory. I go into the factory. I scavenge the factory. Am I ever going back to that factory? You know what I mean? Am I ever going back to that factory once I find it? I pick a random spot on the map. It builds a 16 square. I find a facility. I go into that facility. I kill all the bad guys. I get all the stuff out of there. I leave. I go explore a little bit. I get back in my ship and I fly back to the base or whatever. Am I ever going back to that factory? I don't think you are. The likelihood of you going back to that would be astronomical, especially with 1,000 planets and what you're doing. Unless you're like, you know what? I like that factory. I'm going to build a base over here, and then I'm going to go back that and make it part of my base type of thing. But if tile 1 has a lot to do, well, tile 2, what about tile 3? Does every tile feel alive, or there's just I think there's going to be blank tiles. I think generically, I don't know how it works, but they said when you make a tile, it's gonna, they're not prefabbing, they're not like handcrafting it, but they made handcrafted things that can get tossed into that tile. So if I click on that spot, I mean, if you really wanted to, you click on the spot, do the 16 square radius, leave, click the exact same spot, it would be a completely different generated area. So you click the same spot 3 times, it might not be a factory. You click it the 4th time, all of a sudden there's a factory there, right? Now, is that part of the planet? Yes and no. There's no physical planet there because they're not stitched together. But every time you click on a tile, you're getting a map the size of Fallout 76, right? And if I clicked 1 time on every planet, that's 1,000 maps the size of Fallout 76. 1,000. If I click 1 time on every planet. So you just played Oblivion, Morrowind, Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76. That's 6 games. And they all range in size from 17 square miles to 30 square miles. That's 6, right? Meanwhile, if you click 6 times on 6 planets, or 1 planet 6 times, that's the size of every game you've already played in a Bethesda game. Every single one. These are some of the really cool areas beyond the border fence of Fallout 76. Hopefully they expand the map in the future. Hopefully. I can feel that, Abu. I can sense that. And look, again, this is not a place to like bitch about somebody else's and how you're enjoying their content or not enjoying their content, right? We're having a conversation and whatnot. This is not a, because people's tastes change. They do. People that are here today won't be here tomorrow. People that are here this month won't be there next month. Why do people expect every tile will have things to do? Imagine aliens landing in the middle of the Sahara Desert. What are they going to do? We're going to do some alien stuff. Whatever aliens do in the desert. If that factory is gone, you would seem lost. Would you? Like, think of how you play the game. Because it is a game, right, Titan? I land on a spot, right? I land on a spot. Just like I entered Fallout 76, or I entered Skyrim, or I entered Fallout 4, right? I see a point of interest. I go do that point of interest. Do all the stuff I need to get. I get all the resources. My backpack's full now, right? Find a point of interest. I go inside there. I kill the bad guys. I collect all the resources. My backpack's full. What do you do at that point? What do you do at that point? You're like, okay, I'm going to get back in my ship. Now you made 1 tile. You made 1 tile. You leave. That tile's still there. Until you make 3 other tiles, or 4 other tiles, that first tile is still there. It's still there. Meaning you could fly back to that tile and go back into that factory. Right? It doesn't delete it until you go to your 4th tile. Do you see what I'm saying? So once you're done with that area and you don't continue going on, because if you're a person that plays, do the factory, then go to another tile, then go to another tile, then go to another tile, and then go to another tile, and your first tile is deleted, then you're going to go back and go, oh, man, I lost the factory. But if you don't do that, you're going to go back to the factory because the factory is still going to be there. Because the tile doesn't disappear off that planet unless you hit the 4th one. Or the 5th one, whatever it is. So you're not going to miss it. It would be good to see that factory again if you get your bearings direction. But you would have that there. You would have that there. Once you go to the next tile, you're not going to see that bearing again. But at that point, it doesn't really matter. You've moved on from the other tile. The tile's not like 2 feet wide. It's the size of Fallout 76. But that's how they marketed it. I've done this already. We looked at all the videos. They never said you could walk around the entire planet. They did say in certain ways. Could you assume? I think there's both assuming on both ends here, right? I think the assuming of that they said you could walk around the entire planet is on the person that's listening to it. You actually listen, because I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, people won't actually listen to what is being said. Hence why I make a lot of predictions based on the things that are not said and read between the lines of what they do say. Hence why I wasn't surprised that there's tiles and that you weren't going to be able to walk through them. I got this cool weapon from the factory at this location. Just you may need to land there 5 or 10 times before the factory will show up. Sorry. Well, I actually like what they're doing, Brain, and here's why. It stops people from ruining the game for other people, right? I landed on this spot, and this is where you find this gun. Okay? Makes a YouTube video of it. Someone now just goes, does it. This game might be the first game that doesn't let people do that. Sarge, exactly. Right? You can walk across Skyrim in 10 minutes. The game is huge. So what is the actual complaint? I don't know. That the planet's not there? I don't know. 100% people are looking for any gotcha they can find at this complaints aren't about actual gameplay or experience at all. Right? I would be more problem, Chris. I would have more of a problem if I don't care about the boundaries, stuff like that. I have more of a problem. Yesterday we played No Man's Sky. It crashed 12 times. And jokingly, I was like, it's all right, give him time. It's only been out for 7 years, right? 12 times. 7 years it's been out. 12 times. The update they did yesterday literally screwed the game, right? The people that say, oh well, this game is a patch away from being fixed or being great. It's also a patch away from being absolute garbage. 12 times my game crashed yesterday. That would be a problem if it happened in Starfield. Okay? Not the borders of the tiles that you're running around. Right, Dupless. They never said you could walk around the entire planet. They said you could explore the entire planet is what they said. And that's not a lie. You can literally click here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here. And based on what they're saying, geographically, if I'm next to a mountain, it's going to procedurally generate a mountain near me. If I'm near the ocean, it's going to procedurally generate that ocean to that side of me. That's the way I took it. Okoki says, I'm not really following this. Are you saying that portions of the explored spaces get deleted when you explore too much? So what happens is, have you played Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 or Skyrim or Fallout 76, Makoki? Okay, so when you land on the planet, it makes a 16 by 16 square tile, which is the size of Skyrim. The entire of Skyrim is in a 16, or it's actually in a 17 by 17 square, so it's just a little smaller. Okay, it's in a 17 by 17 square. So if I land my ship, wherever I click the map and the ship lands, that is the center point of the 16 by 16 square that you landed. So now you could run 10 minutes up this way, you can run 10 minutes this way, you can run 10 minutes this way, you can run 10 minutes this way. That's squared, okay? Right, hundreds of hours in Skyrim, okay? So what people are saying is, now I leave this square. I happen to run from the center to the edge of Skyrim. Just nothing else, just going to the end. I get there within 45 minutes to an hour, whatever you're doing. Once you get to the border, okay, it says you have to go back to your ship, or you can, go to the map and then pick a new point. And once you do that, your ship then lands at another spot, okay? And then it's another 16 square. It's not connected to the first 16 square, meaning you can't run from this 16 square to this 16 square. It's just 16 square, 16 square, 16 square, right? Every time you land, it makes a new procedurally generated 16 square, okay? Up to 4 squares, okay? So now let's picture this, right? You have 1 16 square here, you have 1 16 square here, you have 1 16 square here, you have 1 16 square there. They make one giant 32 by 32 square, but they don't, because you can't go across the boundaries, okay? Once you leave that planet and come back, as long as you don't click on another spot, you can go back and visit those tiles that were generated. But once you make another spot, it's going to delete one of the tiles that was the first one down. So think about like you ever see the cartoons where they take the railroad track, they put it in front of them, and then they put another railroad track in front of them, and they grab the one from behind them and put the railroad track in front of them? That's basically what it is, right? You have it, but you only have a certain amount. Once you get past the fourth one, which is now 4 times the size, you've landed, you've done 4 maps the size of Skyrim. The 5th one deletes number 1. The 6th one deletes number 2. The 7th one deletes number 3. You get what I'm saying now? Yeah, it's becoming Starfield detractors' talking point. It was exclusive of the boundary issue. Wouldn't be an issue. Not an issue. I'm telling you right now, it's not an issue. It's only an issue if you're looking for the issue. What is the factory is on the edge of the tile? Why would it be on the edge of the tile? Think of this from a developer point of view, right? Even when they make the maps in Fallout 76 or Skyrim, nothing is put on the edge of the tile. Nothing. There's things that are close to it, and sure, you could then leave and then hit the wall, okay? But you wouldn't. They wouldn't do that. And again, the map is the size of Skyrim. Each tile is the size of the Skyrim. Let me get this straight. You played Skyrim, and you were like, this map is small. I don't think that happened. It's a nice way of keeping secrets. Yeah, for not letting people do it. You know what I mean? The complaint is that you'll also have hundreds of thousands of Skyrim-sized maps. Right. Hence why they have to get rid of them. But I think it comes in uniques. I don't see them having those procedure-generated will probably take out a whole section like tips and tricks, speedrun, and tutorial communities. Sure. Man, Spider-Man 2 marketing needs to ramp up. That'll distract the PlayStation fanboys. Yeah, right? It's all separate tiles. Clear now. No, yeah, not merged. Not. No, they don't merge. Keeping stuff persistent memory can be an issue. Plus, do what you want in the game of 250 gigs plus. Right. If it would just get bigger and bigger. Like if they just kept letting you open up maps, and then let's say in a world where they melded together, they stitched together. Okay? And then you started walking around and it continued on. And it mapped out the entire map. Great. Now, go do that on every planet, right? Your save file would be absolutely... First of all, you wouldn't have enough time in your life to do it. Just saying. To walk around planet Earth. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to do it. And then I guess you're not doing the water. You would only do the land, so... whatnot. Then players can't really share locations, coordinates in these procedure-generated planets. No, if we both Titan play the same game, I'm on stream, you at the exact same time, we click the exact same spot in the exact same location, your procedure generator is going to be different than mine. I might have a factory, a windmill, and a city. You might have dirt with a shanty house, just for example, which makes it different every single time. There's barriers in No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is the only one that doesn't have barriers on the planet, right? The only barriers that could basically be on a planet if a mountain's too high and you can't go up past a certain point because your jetpack is stopping you from going up high, but you can make your way around, right? It's an actual wall. Or when you're in the ship, you can fly past those planets and just keep flying, and there'll be a point where it doesn't tell you that you hit the boundary, but you do hit the boundary. The planets don't get any farther away from you. They just sit there, and your ship just sits there. And I'm not taking anything away from No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is phenomenal, right? Phenomenal of what you could do. That's not what Starfield is. And then there's people complaining about Starfield and No Man's Sky, where these are the same people that said you can't compare. They told me you can't compare No Man's Sky to Starfield. I said, well, I'm only comparing because of the resources and stuff like that, right? And now they're comparing No Man's Sky to Starfield because of the boundary thing. I was like, well, which one do you want? You say you can't do it, and now you're saying you can. Let me pick up this goalpost and move it over here. I personally think that majority of the people that get in this game and go on a tile, they're like, this is huge. They got to do it again and again, and they're going to get bored. I think a lot of people are going to be like, hey, it's just, I don't know what to do. Right? If they don't play the story, they just go on an exploration, they're like, I'm bored. Do you have a link for Discord? Yeah, it's down below in the description. Don't worry. Yeah, the edge of each galaxy has one. That's correct. 76. Let's think about the Microsoft Flight Sim. Its persistent world is close to 300 gigabytes with all the updates, plus the petabytes of information you download. Better scenarios. Yeah. What is the petabytes that they're? I forget the petabytes that you're downloading from the cloud. Papa. Like two petabytes or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is a nothing burger as well. The boundary thing is not a problem. We're making it a problem for no reason. You're playing, every time you land, you're playing on a map the size of Fallout 76. If there's actual problems with Starfield, that's what I'm worried about. If I get in my ship and all of a sudden the game crashes, or if I fall through the map and I'm falling through the tile, they'll be like, oh, you see that? See the tile? Right? Like, those are issues that can break the game and break the immersion. This spaceship sounds like a glorified fast travel system between tiles. Not a free-moving vehicle we like. Well, no. On planet, it is. Right? On planet, you're going to be moving from one thing to the next or whatnot. Once you take your ship into space, that's a completely different thing. And I'm sure there's a boundary in space. We just don't know. I've talked about it. We don't know if it's around the planet. So, like, if you're in the atmosphere or the in space around Earth, like, if I want to go to Mars, can I just fly to Mars? Like, on a fast travel type of thing like No Man's Sky does? Or do I have to go through some portal, a wormhole that just shoots me over there so I'm there and it's a load screen type of thing? I don't know. I don't know what they said or did, or if someone leaked it or whatnot. At 2-3 petabytes in cloud. Right. Crazy. Look at one of the images. It looks like you can fit 15 tiles along one side of the planet. So 30 tiles for a full rotation, 45 minutes per tile, end to end. It would take 13,500 minutes to walk. That YouTuber made news for being mad you couldn't land on planets made of gas. Oh, I saw that, Reese. I saw that. I didn't know if that was a fake, like just like a troll type of thing. Like, you can't even land. They said 1,000 planets, but these you can't land on this planet. It's like, how stupid can you be? Stupid can you be? It's real. Oh, God's sake. Because there's currently no drama, so they need to make up. I'm sure there'll be drama. This isn't it though. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be drama when it comes out. Something might happen. People might go, "Oh, you can't do this." Maybe the moral system's not as good or something. You know what I mean? The only reason we're talking about it is I'm trying to give clarity of what the tile system is, right? People are not thinking correctly of you're literally landing on a game you've already played. The size of Skyrim, the size of Fallout 76, the map is that big. Every time you land. Every time you land. That's my problem with No Man's Sky. I need some sort of quest line, not just clicking materials. Too much for me. I hear you. Last night last night when we played for 4 hours and 30 minutes last night. I was directed. I was like, I got to stay focused. I stayed focused because I wanted to do a mission to get towards the new race, right? And I was gung-ho, but I kept getting sidetracked. I literally showed up into the atmosphere to go do one mission, and then all of a sudden these pirate ships started attacking me, and then I got into a freighter, and then I totally forgot what I was doing. I was like, what was I doing again? What mission was I on? I totally forgot. If you're like that, you're gonna love Starfield because you're gonna go all over the place and get sidetracked. If you're a person that needs structure, I think you're also going to like Starfield because I think there's going to be plenty of side quests and main quests and stuff to do. They said there's like 1,000 hours of just doing side quests. Oh, it kept freezing. It pissed me off, Freeze, because it's 7 years old. And they caused a massive problem with the last update. Can you make Cloud City in Starfield or in No Man's Sky? I would think in Starfield you couldn't. You would have to like build up and then, or maybe build on top of a cliff and then build out, but I don't know if you could do that. You probably need some structure. No Man's Sky you can. No Man's Sky you can build up and then build everything and then knock down the pieces that you built up there. The next complaint will be too much water on Neptune. How much you want to bet that people are like, you can't swim. You can't swim. How much you want to bet? You know it's going to happen. You know what I would love to do? I would love. Now I don't know if this is going to happen because I don't know the. I would love to pick. Right. What storm is it? Is it on? It's on Jupiter, right? Or it's no. Saturn's got the rings. Jupiter's got the storm. Go on the storm, and like, I know it's a gas giant, but the hurricane that's up there, like. If you click on something, can you go in and just see like the storm and stuff like that? Yeah, you know what I mean? Yes, Pluto is a planet. Single Digit Death says, I've been playing No Man's Sky since launch. Just beat the main campaign for the new content. Sidetracked the game. Single, are you having issues with? Are you playing on PC or are you playing on console? Question, because if you've been playing since launch, last night, man, I had 12 crashes. 12 crashes on the Xbox Series X. I was pissed, man. I was enjoying myself, but it was excruciating every time it happened because it wouldn't save a good like 2 minutes before. So you would do a mission or do something, and then it would crash, and then you have to come back in and then do the last like 2 minutes. If it didn't do that, and I had to like restart the mission, I would have just shut the game off. In Starfield, not sure, but it's a planet. I think it's gonna be fun, man. I want to build a ship, and I want to have. Obviously, I want to build a bigger ship, like the as big as it can get. We saw that picture of like how small your ship is and how big it could get. Like, that's the dream, right? Get that big ship and be a captain of that ship and go around. That would be cool. Well, we're only a little bit more than 24 hours away, right? 24 hours from tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, where people can jump in and start playing Starfield. Look, I'm excited for it. I know what it was going in. I know what Bethesda does, and I like Bethesda that they do the single player aspect of their RPGs, right? I loved every single Bethesda game story-wise, going up, Oblivion, Morrowind, Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and now Starfield. So hopefully, if Starfield can be what Oblivion was, if Starfield can be what Fallout 3 was for them, then I think it's a win. Only played on console, PlayStation. So is it crashing on the PlayStation, or is that a feature on Xbox now? I played a new update on PC. I'm not crashing, but I'm new to No Man's Sky, so I'm doing the old stuff right now. It was bad, right? And both me and Brain, we both play on Xbox. I think Brain, you have an Xbox Series X, right? I think both of us were crashing. Like, he would crash 10, 15 minutes after I would crash. Didn't know if it was a multiplayer thing. Then we were by ourselves, and we still crashed. It would crash when the worm jumped out of the planet. Crashed when I was going up against sentries. 12 times. 12 times. 9 times on stream, 3 times off. All right. Question for you before we go. Right? What is the first thing, if you're playing Starfield, what is the first thing you're doing when you get in the game? Are you playing main campaign? Obviously, you're making your character, right? Which we are playing. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we have a podcast, Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Me and Sarge are going to be talking about, just the weekly news. After the podcast, I'm going to go live. We're going to go create Jack Burton on stream, and then we're going to go into the game. We're not playing the story. We're not playing anything. What we're doing is we're exploring. We're just going out in the world, and we're doing probably the tutorial, whatever it is, and then that's what we're doing. So, if you're interested in that, come on out tomorrow for the podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then come for the Starfield stream afterwards. I'm not getting many crashes, 2 or 3 since the update launched. Recent one was posted yesterday, hotfix. Stealth sniper playing main campaign. Shoot fire extinguishers. Starting the menu. Half and half. I'll do the campus as far as I can need to until the build the Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon. You saw that shot, right? You see that Starfield? Looked pretty good. Starfield. This thing looked pretty good. See if I can. Yeah. Look at this bad boy. If you can, if this is real, I love how they photoshopped Han and Chewie down here, but that's pretty goddamn good, man. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. I don't know if it's a mock-up or if someone actually did it, but if you can take the pieces that are in the game and make this, bro, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Right? Again, I don't know if it's photoshopped or whatever, but someone created it, and it looks like it's all the pieces. It looks like it's all the pieces. Let me see. Reddit post is sincerely impressive, though, considering what the creator had to work with and how detailed they made it. The Han Solo could use it in Star Wars and clear the Kessel Run in time. Okay, so wait. Let me see if this guy... William Falcon, I'm familiar with them. The parts aren't always intended to be put together. With the Starfield release quickly approaching, the thrilling to consider what would also be create in. Personally, I want to see the Starship Enterprise as more of a Star Trek fan myself. It'd also be cool if you can more massive ships like the one in Interstellar. I think a lot of people are going to pick try to do the Last Starfighter. The regular ship is pretty damn close to the Last Starfighter. I'm really interested to see maybe what we'll do. Maybe we'll do this. I'm gonna make a new section in our Discord. It'll be the Starfield section. Okay. So anybody that wants to post pictures of their ships or their characters or places they've seen, that's what we'll do. We'll put a Starfield section in. Even if it only lasts a couple of months or whatever, people are gonna get hyped. People are gonna make ships and whatnot. I would like to see them, right? And since it's not multiplayer, okay, and we can't jump into each other's each other's games to see, the only way you can see it is if you share it. So I would like to see you guys share your thing. So what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna make a Starfield section in our Discord, and you guys can post all your stuff inside there as far as Starfield. I keep it Starfield. Don't start talking about other games and other things. It's Starfield. Okay, we're gonna put that up there for you guys. You guys can start enjoying that. The shipbuilding in the game has me interested most of all. Yeah, I feel like that's a separate game, right? Just building a ship in the game is a game itself. And we are going to make content. I'm going to make produced content where I play the game and I'm going to make it into like a television show. It's going to take me a little bit to figure out what I want to do when I'm playing. But I am going to make that. I'm going to make one episode and see if it works out well. And if it works out well, then I'm going to make more episodes. It's going to be the Adventures of Jack Burton, Captain's Log. And then we're going to have episodes playing the game. I'm not playing the game like everybody else is. I'm not playing the game to beat the game. I'm playing the game to explore and have fun in this game. That's what I'm doing. So if you like that, make sure you hit that like button down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when we go live. We do these Monday through Thursday. We do the news. That's it. We're just read the news and we have conversation with you guys in the chat, have back and forth. Without the chat, it'd be kind of boring to do the show, wouldn't it? So I like when you guys come out and, fire back at me as far as, your thoughts. And it's not a debate show. You know what I mean? It's not a debate. We have conversations and whatnot. So we read the news, right? Read the news, give you my thoughts, you give me your thoughts, and then we have a nice conversation. And we usually do about three topics throughout the day, Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. As you can tell, it's almost 12:45, so we kind of run over because we rant a little bit. We do a podcast on Thursday nights called Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories. So you can join me and Sarge for that. We've been doing that for 9 years. And then on top of that, we do Let's Plays, and we play lots of different games Monday through Wednesday from 8 o'clock to about midnight. And then on top of that, we also do uploads and whatnot for content on YouTube. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for coming out and hanging out with us this morning. I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for more gameplay of whatever I play. And then tomorrow, big show. We have the news segment tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of stuff's going to come out at this hour, 12. The embargoes lift, and we're going to look at some reviews around 12 o'clock. And then, what's it called? Podcast tomorrow night, 8 p.m. And then after that, we're going to be playing some Starfield. So I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.